severe drug addict, what's the dark side?
How am I going to get more? How can I buy more? How can I steal to get more? Who can I rob to get more? You're sobbing, trying to get a vein, and you're dehydrated, you haven't eaten, you haven't slept. There's no way out because you don't want to get high anymore, but you can't stop getting high. The worst way to describe this is it's the best feeling I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah, bro. So wild.
All right.
What's up?
All right, bro. You ready?
Yeah.
We got a hell of a conversation today. So before we dive in, we're going to make sure we send you home with a fresh loaf of bread.
Yeah.
Started as a homeschool project that we did for the kids, and it turned into a business. And so now we sling it, and they ship bread all over the nation. So
Let's go.
yeah, so you're going to get to go home with some sour bee bread. I actually got some shirts for you that I did not grab, but I got
one for
what
you when
size
you're
are you?
ready. XL.
Okay, I'm going to get you.
Dude, I was 2X up until 5 days ago, and then I got the stomach flu. Bro, I lost 10 pounds in 4 days. Yeah,
that's
so
rough.
I'm swimming in this right
Okay,
now. But yeah, I got something for you too.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So you got a hell of a story, Logan. This is going to be a hell of an introduction because you have gone through a lot. You were raised as a everyday middle America class kid.
Yeah.
Good in school, good grades. You played lacrosse.
Football. I played all of it.
All the sports. Remotely kind of mainly stayed out of trouble. You went to a military school.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, everything kind of turned. You found yourself becoming addicted to drugs, which we want to get into this. And because it wasn't just regular drugs, it ended up becoming heroin and crack. Which ended up leading you being homeless on like a 5-year stint where you found yourself on the west side of Baltimore. Which I am sure is a horrible place to be, especially homeless and, and addicted to drugs. And during this time, you have gone through a lot. I'm sure the violence and there's sexual abuse that goes on the streets and just dealing with people, and you get to learn who men really are, what man is capable of doing in those situations. And so you kind of had a come to Jesus moment. You come to in a house that's full of feces and just shit everywhere, and you're freezing to death, and you kind of have this epiphany, and you end up finding a phone the next day, make a call, and you've changed your life around. And during this whole entire journey, you're now a fitness coach. You're helping people through obviously getting their life back on track. You work for an organization that is a recovery organization and gets people back on their feet and into your shoes where you're at now. And you have gone through every part of the spectrum of being an addict to being from a good all-American kid to homeless on the streets, and now a full recovery where you have a family, you got a kid. So you're doing really well for yourself. I've had one other person on the show that was an addict in the early days. He runs a recovery center, and Jason Combs, he's an incredible dude. Love the guy. So they're going to be the second guy that we've had this kind of conversation with. And so and the reason I wanted to have this conversation is it's so easy for us to look at homeless people in the streets and be like, oh, he's homeless. But none of us truly know what goes on and what leads a lot of people to that point of no return of being on the streets. And the statistics are against you. Like the fact that you're sitting here now, I mean, is 1 in a million that you have a success story and you're actually giving back to the community that almost took your life. So we got a lot to dive into. Like we start every episode, man. Who are you? Where are you from?
My name's Logan. I'm from Trapp, Maryland.
Trapp, Maryland.
Yes.
What's it like growing up in Trapp, Maryland?
A lot of farming, a lot of fishing, blue collar, right? One stoplight. Everybody knows everybody. And then the largest town over that I ended up like going to high school at, still very, very small compared to towns. One high school type of thing. Like everybody knows everybody. Like very, very small town upbringing. Like come home when the street lights come on. Like,
would you graduate high school with?
What year?
No, how many kids?
Oh,
your graduating class
from my military school. 45.
Okay.
Yeah. That was very niche down. But the high school I was before there, probably close to like 500.
Okay.
Right. Like
Okay.
multiple counties pulled into that one. So, and multiple towns were pulled in.
Yep.
So high school was big, nice melting pot of people.
Got it.
But very, very small town. Right. Like very, like my dad was like town councilman. Type of thing, like small stuff.
Yep. I grew up in a village, so I know how that is.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. That's
one main light, and then you got maybe a blinking light as you're heading out of town another direction. That's how I grew up.
We had two gas stations at the time, right? Like they never
right across the street from each other.
Yeah. Dude, it was upbringing was cool, right? There's a lot of my childhood that I don't remember fine details of, and I think mainly because of I had a lot of things kind of happen in my childhood, right? Like, I've made it a point not to like villainize my parents, right? Because they don't have the tools that I have now. Okay. Right. But my dad, mom, heavy drinkers, right? Partiers, which now that I know what it looks like, borderline alcoholism, right?
Your whole life or just a chunk of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So seeing them, but like also very loving. Like my dad coached most of my baseball teams, right? Like my mom made sure I made it to every practice and every sport, never missed a game. Even when I was out of state, would drive. Right, like a couple of times a month. Right. But yeah, like seeing that growing up, and then I knew that my aunt was an addict as a kid. I knew something wasn't right. I knew, my grandfather. So my whole dad's side is kind of littered with addiction. My mom's not so much like one person, right? So, essentially that melting pot came into me, and then I had my own struggles as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
So high school and everything, did you dabble with drugs?
Yeah.
Throughout school?
Yeah. I mean, so before high school, I went to a very religious elementary, middle school, like very like super religious, like leave room for Jesus type, like no non-secular music, uniforms, Bible class, all of the science classes were creation based, right? So like Jesus made the dinosaurs and God made the dinosaurs, blah, blah, blah. Then I go to a public high school from this very sheltered, essentially camp that it was on a summer camp where they ran a school out of, to public high school. Right now, I wanted to go to high school to play football. Right, a couple of the coaches had asked me, "Hey, you should come play for us." Right, so I went to public high school, got let out just into the wild, essentially. Right?
Okay,
like just a baby deer going into the wild, and it was pure chaos, right? But it was what I needed as a kid, right? Like I needed to interact with different people, right? Not just, certain types of people, right? I flourished. I did really well. I went and played football. I played baseball. I did all the things, had a large friend group. But with it being small town, right? We had a movie theater and a bowling alley.
Yeah, not much to do.
There's only so many times you can go bowling and watch movies, right? So started with weed, recreationally smoking weed. And then end of sophomore, beginning of junior years, when kind of partying kind of kicked in, because everybody was partying, right? Like I can't say that I was the only one, right? Like my whole friend group was partying, but we were still going to school on Monday through Friday, showing up to our sports games, being stellar athletes, stellar students, right? Like getting good grades, but like this double life we all lived behind the scenes that our parents, they had to have known, right? Like looking back now, they had to have known. So we were partying, drinking. And I got introduced to cocaine like my junior year too.
No shit.
Which is, it's wild. I'm gonna try to not use too many people's names here, just because I don't know where they stand right now. But I had some tumultuous times with my family, so I was living on my own. My grandmother had a second house. And,
what's tumultuous times?
Dude, me and my dad, when I was a teenager, at it all the time, because I thought I was like
the man,
like walking around, chest all poked at like 100.
It's a natural phase, though. I mean, that's what our genetic, our primal instincts to get pushed out of the cave. So yeah.
So like, I came home super drunk one night, and I was like, "Cool, this is the night, right?" Like,
the challenge
at it. And my dad was a Marine, so like,
oh no.
So we went at it, and to my credit, I held my own. But again, he went back to tactics that I had no clue about, right? Put me on the ground, and parents and myself were all, big fuck yous. I'm out, right? Went to my grandmother, lived with her for a little bit, but my work schedule and my school schedule, she was older, right? She was like, "Hey, you can live in this house." which I did very well, right? Like I went to work, I went to school, and I was actually studying for an AP government debate, right? This huge debate we were leading up to, and my buddy came in, and they would come over and smoke, and he comes and says, "What are you doing?" Hey, I'm like, "I've got this big debate tomorrow that I need to like get all my facts down for." And they're sitting there, they're watching TV, and he's like, "I got something that's going to help you study more." Right. So he pulled it out, and I was like, "Absolutely not. I'm not going to ever touch that." Maybe 15 minutes went by. I tried it.
The Coke?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hated it at first. Hated it, then loved it. And then I dabbled in that for a little bit, right? Which as a 16, 17-year-old kid is not beneficial to anybody.
Yep.
Yeah. Still showed up to school. I ended up getting in trouble in high school for weed. They asked me not to come back for my senior year, and I was really looking forward to football and doing the thing I wanted to go to college to play football. So I was essentially on an island where I had no help, and Bill, my football coach, was also a family friend. Came to my parents' house. He was like, "I found this place. They will take him. He can finish school. He can, go to college or join the military. Those are the two options that they give you. And he can play all the sports he wants. He just has to show up by this date." So I was like, "Yeah, I'll go." We drive to like mountainous Virginia, like real hillbilly, middle of nowhere.
Oh,
Virginia.
so it's not even in the same state.
Oh, no.
Shit.
It's called Hargrave Military Academy, and I'm a huge proponent of it. It gave me what I needed.
Okay.
I recommend everybody send their kids there. They're young men. I'm going to look right at the camera. I recommend you send your young men there. When I get there, I get out the car, I had like sideburns, like a goatee. And the football coach had everybody in formation. He walks to me. He goes, "Oh, you're Adams." I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Did you bring a razor?" I was like, "Yeah, I got one in my bag." He goes, "Cool, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to go shave your whole face, run back down here, make it into formation." And he literally hit the stopwatch. Hugged my parents, ran upstairs, shaved my face, got down. That's day one of military school. Yeah.
Were you for it though?
No. I was for the idea and being able to play football, right? That sold me.
Yeah.
I was playing football. I get there, and I hated it for the first 60 days.
Like the structure?
Yeah. 5 a.m. wake ups, PT, and then going to football practice, living with another dude. I would call my dad all the time. "I need you to come pick me up." He's like, "Hey, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to pick you up, dude. You need this," right?
Good for him.
I was like, "If you want to quit," he would do this all the time whenever I'd want to quit like a sport or whatever. "You need to go and tell everyone on your team you're quitting."
That's a great thing to do.
He was like, "Even though you told them, you gave them your word by showing up to practice, showing up to 2-a-days, making the team, right? And committing to the position that you play, that you're going to quit on them." So I essentially never quit any sports, right? Because that gave me a lot of accountability that it wasn't just Logan, it was team, right? Like it's not just me, even though I play a small role in whatever, that I have to go tell everyone, "Hey, this isn't for me. I'm not cut out to support you and be a team member."
Yeah.
Right. And he did that for the football team. He was like, "Cool, go tell your whole company that you want to quit." Right. So I stuck and stayed and then flourished. Dude, like something like clicked one day where I was like, "Oh, I like this."
You got in the groove.
Dude. I was like, "This is what I need." Right. I'm shaving my face every day. I'm putting on the uniform. Right. I ended up going to their NCO school there, so to speak, to become. I didn't pass the test. Being first year, they were like, "Cool, you can try again next year." I was like, "I'm going to graduate."
Yeah.
So, but I did end up becoming corporal, right? Joining their MP their group there. I mean, we weren't really police and do anything, but it was Marine Corps based.
Yeah.
So Sergeant Major ran the whole school, right?
God.
Commandant came in when you really fucked up, but it was awesome, right?
I bet your dad loved it.
Dude, I'll show you the picture after the podcast of when he came to see me for our first parade. I've never seen that man smile like that before. Like even when he and I love you, Dad. Even when he met my son, met my nephew, right? Like the smile on this man's face is wild.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there, right? I'm parade rest. I've got everything on. I got all my pins, the MP cord, right? Like the dueling pistols. So I flourished there. I loved it, right? And I start getting like straight A's, right? So my GPA is bumping. And I get to halfway through the semester. I was like, hey, I think I might want to go home, because I was getting homesick. It was around Christmas. And you went home for like Thanksgiving and Christmas, right? You would have little small breaks where like, because my parents lived so far away, I would go home with like others, right? Like
oh, for sure.
Again, my dad's like, no. He was like, you started this. You have to finish it, right? Like, I don't care what you do. You have to finish it. So I go back. I'm really in the groove here. And I play lacrosse, right? I play for the lacrosse team. I get a couple offers from different schools.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I go and tour the schools, and I wasn't sold on going to play college lacrosse. What I wanted to do, I had a lot of good peers and a lot of good mentors there. And one of the mentors was like, hey, dude, I see that you love this team aspect. You like helping people, right? You're very type A, like people listen when you speak, right? You mean what you say. He was like, you should join the military. And I was like, okay. And he started breaking down different branches that he worked with. He started as a Marine and then transferred to the Navy. Mm-hmm. He was like, look, you should just go be a corpsman. He was like, join the Navy, be a corpsman. You could either, be on a ship or you could be with Marines. What do you want to do? He was like, you're just stubborn enough that you'd be fine with the Marines. I was like, all right.
Sure.
So I tell the plan to my family. Dad, hell yeah. Everyone else shut it down. And I wasn't secure in my own self enough to be like, I don't care what you think. I want to do this for me.
Ah, damn.
I know,
okay.
Dude. Which, hindsight, I wouldn't be here right now.
For sure.
Right? I don't know where I would be. So I ended up going to play lacrosse at the University of Mississippi for a little bit.
No shit.
Yeah. I went to University of Mississippi, played lacrosse, joined a fraternity, did the whole college thing for about 18 months.
Okay.
But I also had no structure, right? So again, like I go from a super structured lifestyle to where like I'm told when to wake up, I'm told when to go to sleep, I'm told when to study, I'm told when to eat, do all my things, wake up, work out, to nothing, to nobody being like, hey, you need to be here besides lacrosse practice, right?
Yeah.
At like 4 p.m.
Yep.
None of my professors cared if I showed up, right? They're like, oh, you didn't show up? Okay, cool. Here's what you missed.
Yeah.
Show up if you want.
Paid regardless.
Yeah, show up if you want tomorrow. I don't care. So my grades sucked. I go home. Parents are pissed, right? Mom's mad. Dad, I think he was still trying to push me to the military.
Yeah.
So I go home, and I was figuring out how to be a man, right?
How old are you at this point?
I was about to be 20.
Okay.
Yeah. So I go back home to that small town. I live with my parents for a little bit. I'm working for my dad's construction company at the time. I get some money. Me and my buddy who also worked for my dad, we were like, let's get our own apartment. And that's when I was still working out and like taking care of myself a lot, but also like I was 20 years old with an apartment. Like I was going to party as much as I could, still showing up for work. I'm not going to say that was a problem time for me because I was still like showing up and doing everything. Yeah. Eventually I got tired of it. And I told my dad, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna get out of this lease. I'm gonna move with you guys, and I'm gonna work for you, and I'm gonna try to go back to community college.
Okay.
So I did that, right? I moved back home with them, right? A little weird going from that freedom, but also freedom to structure. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, granted, it was very loose structure, right? Like my dad's thing was, you better be up in time for work, right? Community college, I do okay there, and then after my second semester, I got into a bar fight. Right now, I wasn't the instigator of the fight, right? Like I wasn't even really, I shouldn't have even been involved, but someone that I knew was about to get jumped by a group of people, and I stepped in the middle and I tried to break it up. So I like push him out of the circle to his car, and as I'm going, someone takes a whiskey bottle, breaks over the back of my head, and if anyone's ever felt how thick a whiskey bottle is, it's thick.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Don't hits me. I get a couple swings. I'm out. I black out. And I saw the surveillance video like later on, like when the police came and talked to me. There's like 15 or 16 people just stomping me like on the ground. I'm clearly unconscious, like stomping on my face,
really
flipping me over, stomping on my chest. Like they run my pockets, take everything out. from what the stories are after that, like, and the video showed a guy from my hometown stepping in the middle and literally saving my life, like pushing all these people back, grabbing me up with like underhooks and dragging me to the car. And what they told me, they were asking me what I wanted to do, and I just kept saying, just take me home. And they had the foresight to be like, no, dude, you're fucked up right now. Like, I was bleeding from my skull. I had skull fractures. I had shattered my eye socket, shattered my nose. Jaw had a small break in it. Like, I was jacked up.
Damn.
I had bleeding on my brain. They took me to the hospital, and small town hospital, right? Stapled 2 staples into my head. They're like, he's fine. But my mom had showed up.
Motrin, change your socks.
Yeah. Rub some dirt on it. You'll be all right. My mom showed up, and I didn't know my name. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know the year. I couldn't even tell you who the president was. Like, I was clearly concussed with a traumatic brain injury. So after that, like, I remember coming to a little bit, seeing her and being like, oh no. And then going back out, waking up in University of Maryland shock trauma. Now, if anyone from Maryland knows, if you wake up in University of Maryland shock trauma, you're not in good shape. They airlift you out there, or they fly you, or they airlift you, or they take you by ambulance. Because of the pressure on my brain, they couldn't airlift me, so they had to drive me the hour and a half.
Damn.
I don't remember any of that.
Okay.
I wake up, I'm hooked to a whole bunch of stuff. I wake up dizzy, and I remember my mom wasn't in the room at the time. A doctor, when I woke up, was standing there. He was like, hey, we're going to have to drill a hole in the top of your skull. You have bleeding on your brain. If this medicine doesn't work, this is going to happen. What I need you to do is to try to sign a physical will for me in case you don't make it. Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah. And then, so I'm 20.
What's going through your mind at this point? I mean, you're probably not even processing it.
I remember being lucid enough to be like, whatever I have in my bank account, I want my sister to have. And like, with a nurse trying to write that, to where I was like, I want my sister to get my stuff, and then signing my name and trying to date it. And then I wake up again. I see my mom. She looks like hell. Like, she looks destroyed. And then back out, wake up again, lucid. In the bed next to me, there's a guy with like 8 gunshot wounds. Right. And the whole time they're doing this, they're feeding me painkillers. Feeding me painkillers, like morphine drip, and then oxycodone, right? Eating them. Even though I could barely chew, like my lips were black. Like I was in rough shape. I was choking them down, and I kept asking for water. They're like, no, you can't have water in case we take you into surgery.
God, they're giving you pills in here.
Dude. It was wild. So I black out again, and I wake up to my mom standing there. And this time I didn't know who she was. That's how I knew like things were pretty bad. I was like, I recognized her face, but I couldn't be like, Mom.
Yeah.
I just knew, looking at her and seeing her face, I felt comfort. I was like, okay. To like hearing them say, hey, the swelling on his brain went down. Luckily the medicine worked. Blah, blah, blah.
Damn, that's got to be a horrible feeling.
At the time, I didn't know. Like, I remember these things, but like there was no emotion behind it to where I was scared. I was in rough shape.
Have you ever thought back on it and thought about like you just saying that you didn't know it was your mom, but you knew it was comfort? Yeah. Have you dug into that? Like, if you really, that's such a primal,
dude,
instinctive thing to know that like this woman is here for safety, and you can feel that, but you don't even know it's your own mom.
Now having a child and like knowing how important it was for my son and her to have skin to skin contact first, right? Like, dude, this gives me cold chills.
It's a thing.
Sure. That's what it was. My mother was an angel. She was a saint, dude. Yeah. Like, I can't name a time when she wronged me, right? Like, me and my dad, different story, right? But also, I played my own part.
Yep.
Always there, right? Like, but knowing, like, she was always there, right? Like, every single time. And I know that was an inconvenience to her. Like, being a parent now, I know making it to all those things. I know she had her own life and want to do her own shit. But like, I remember seeing her face and just comfort.
Yeah.
And them saying the swelling on the brain went down. We're going to have to put stuff up his nose to fix the nose. The jaw doesn't need any surgery. It'll heal on its own. The eye socket is going to need a small plate underneath. And we're going to do the best we can to fix him up. But we don't know how bad the TBI is. And then being passed out again. and then waking up. But I woke up mentally, I was like 2 years behind, right? Like I felt like I was still like in military school almost, right? Like I woke up, first thing I did was do like 15 push-ups and I fell out. Yeah, and I was there for like, I think 5 days.
No shit.
Yeah. And that's yeah, that was a rough one. Being a parent, I can't imagine, bro. I could not. Like, and that's where my addiction starts. Yeah.
So that you getting jumped is what led to your whole entire journey of becoming an addict and then becoming homeless and then to where you are now. All 100%. From a fight. All from a fight.
One that I didn't start, right? And one that no one got arrested for either. The police department where I'm from, they dropped the ball. They were like, oh, we can't pull any faces, blah, blah. Even though people were coming, like,
it's a small
town. Like
knows everybody.
My godfather is a black man, right? And he was like, I know 6, 7 of these.
Were they black dudes?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I don't like put the color into it, right? It doesn't matter.
We said black.
Yeah, but like so that's the community that I was wrapped up in at the time.
Okay.
Right? Like I've been through many, many things, but yeah, they were like, we don't know. And for my own vengeance later on, I found a couple of them.
How did that feel?
At the time, good. Now, past tense, probably not the best. Right?
I mean, did you put a work on them? Or?
I don't know what the statute of limitations on that is.
All right.
Yeah. But
all right. I'm with you though.
I got my payback.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, and that's where it all started, dude. Like I was 21, maybe 22. I think I was 22. Yeah. So I go through the recovery process, right?
Okay.
I have to go up to Baltimore once a week to make sure the clots in my face are going away so they don't move anywhere. I remember like they were shoving, it looked like sponges up my nose into my sinus cavity and just slowly pulling out just like black blood clots. Like, but with that, I had to drop out of school, right? Like I wore glasses for a little bit because the stigmatism in my left eye was so bad I couldn't see straight. I kind of had to relearn almost everything. Like reading was very hard again. I'm still terrible at math now. Like certain things just don't fire the way they did. So I'm going up there, right? Things are healing, staples in the head. I'm back home with my parents, right? And the doctor that I have no idea his name, but they put me on oxycodone 30 milligrams 3 times a day.
Okay,
right. That was the first 6 months.
Okay.
The second 6 was 2. Okay, so still a little bit of a wean down, right? But every day.
So now you're 6 months. You're 6 months, 3 pills a day.
Yep. And then another 6, 2. And another 6, 1.
So you're now a year and a half straight on oxy.
Yep. Straight like, and I wasn't, that was kind of when like opiates were popping off, right? This is like 2012, 2013 time.
You're not thinking about,
no,
I'm going to have to come off of this.
I didn't know people really that were using like that. Like I knew people would use them to party, but I didn't know people were like, I didn't know.
Long-term use.
Yeah. I don't think anybody really knew the effects that it was causing at the time.
No, you always know the dude that has always got a pills and you call and like,
hey, what do you got today? We'll try it out.
Dude, I threw my back out. What do you got?
Yeah, he's got something, right?
Everybody's got that friend, but you never think long-term use.
No. And that was long term, like, which I should not have been on, right? Like once my face and everything healed up, that should have been it. They should have put me on pain management, which they didn't. Right?
Very low dose and off a lot sooner. Yeah.
Like, taper me down, do the correct way. Now that they do for people. So the end of that 18 months, I go back. Doctor's like, hey, everything looks good. Checked my vision. Cognitively, I was there. I could read again. I could look down. Like I couldn't look down for a long period of time because they were afraid everything would flush, like the blood clots, the swelling. So for a long time, I had to sit and like watch TV, like straight.
You couldn't look down?
No, bro. That's why I had to drop out of college too. I couldn't see. I had these blood clots, and I couldn't look down to study or read or sit in class.
Oh my God! For how long?
That was about 8 to 9 months. I couldn't do that. Yeah. So I slept on a couch for a while, watching Supernatural through and through. Yeah.
Damn, bro, that's miserable.
Wasn't honest. Then looking back now is not my roughest time, right? Like not the roughest
For sure.
So that 18 months ends. I go peak physical health. Right at this point, I had started working out again. Right, like I was doing light cardio. You know, I was cleared to do all the things after kind of a year, but I still had to pass certain metrics, like health wise. So after that 6, I'm out. It's done. Blah blah blah. 3 days goes by. All right, and at this point, no knowledge was no like information where like, hey, you're gonna have to go through physical withdrawal symptoms. You're gonna have to do this emotionally, mentally, and physically. Right when this stops, because this is over. Here's what happens. Right?
None of this.
None of it. So 3 days goes by. I got the flu, right? Which is what I thought I had. Flu. I'm throwing up, sweating. I can't sleep, restless leg. And my parents were like, dude, this really sucks for you, dude. Like, you got the flu too? Like, after all this? So I'm laid up. And then one of my friends just so happens to come by just to check on me, right? Because they were like, hey, you want to come hang out? I'm like, I got the flu, dude. A couple days goes by. On like day 4, he was like, he came by. He's like, hey, how you feeling? I was like, dude. And I looked like death.
Yeah.
Right? But what I didn't know at the time was he was recreationally using pills. Right. So he was like, hey, you're going through opiate withdrawal, dude. I was like, I'm not a drug addict, bro. I'm not doing any of that. I took my pills as prescribed. And he was like, that's not how it works, bro. Like, he was like, how long have you been on them now? I was like, a year and a half. He's like, yeah, dude, you're addicted to opiates.
Leave it to the homie.
Dude, to give me the proper information, right?
To diagnose you as
as like addicted
going
to
through withdrawals. Yeah.
Which is crazy because in that 18 months, cognitively, I had to like repair everything, but also my brain's being rewired from essentially where I started, right? With all that damage being rewired into opiates.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's exactly what it is.
You're building a whole new, I want to say, life and recovery with opiates ingrained into that. Like just put in. I mean, so you have your body doesn't have any idea.
No, I mean, a whole new personality, essentially, right? Like a whole new person.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not a drug addict. He was like, look, dude. And he gave me a pill. Take this. He was like, if you don't feel better in 45 minutes, you're not a drug addict. I take it. I feel better.
How'd that feel? Like, was that a scary moment for you? I mean, now you're registering, oh shit, I'm addicted to opiates.
I didn't grasp it at the time. I was like, fuck. Right? Like,
did you tell your parents?
No.
Okay.
Which is another move. It's not that I didn't feel safe to tell them. I don't know. I felt maybe I didn't feel safe, but maybe I did. Like, I just didn't want to
shame in a way.
No, I just didn't want to have to like burden them again because they took care of me for that whole time. Like, I was still living with them. They were feeding me, right? My mom and dad would wake up sporadically through the night, make sure I was okay.
Oh, and the last thing you want to do is tell them that
like,
you're addicted.
By the way, I'm addicted to drugs. That like I was.
Damn, I feel like they would have. I mean, I don't know your parents, but I mean, God, if you would have went to them and been like, "Hey, I can't get off these drugs I've been on for the last year and a half."
Yeah, they honestly now they would have helped, right? Yeah. Like, they helped me when I came to them and said I actually had a problem.
Okay,
a while after. Yeah, dude. So that happened, and I'm one of those people that I have a lot of friends in the friend group in the phone book, and I knew a guy that could get me refills on my prescription illegally, right? Like he had someone that had a prescription pad. They wrote it. The doctor signed all of them. So he wrote one in my name. Hey, how many do you want? I was like, oh. So I went off my last bottle, right? I was like, okay, this is a 30-day supply, 30. Yeah, I was like, write me one for 30. And I was like planning on, okay, I'll take one and then I'll half and then go down to that, which obviously didn't happen.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and then we kept doing that, right? Like I would pay him, and then it got to the point where he was like, hey, do you still have your x-rays? Yeah, I still have all my x-rays. Cool. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to Delaware. I'm going to give you 2 full scripts. This is 150 a piece, right? 150 pills a piece. You walk into every pharmacy with your prescription or with the prescription I've written and your x-rays. No questions will be asked, and no questions were asked. We did that
really
months at a time, to where now I had a full-blown addiction. Right. And then the DEA started cracking down. Like, opiates were clearly a problem throughout America. DEA started cracking down, so that stopped working. Then we had to black market it. And then him and I parted ways because both of our addictions, you know, we couldn't support each other.
Friendships don't last very long with addiction involved. Yeah.
And he's clean, right? He's sober. He's clean and sober now. And he's a good dude. And, you know, he rebuilt his life too, right?
Good.
But yeah, after that, you know, black market stuff got really expensive, $1 a milligram, right? So 30 pop, then they went $2 and then
$30 a pill.
Yeah. When I first started having to go black market, I was maybe 15 a pill, but if you bought a certain amount, it dropped to like 5, which I worked a job, right? Like I was one of those people, like I could still work a full-time job, support my habit, have my own apartment, you know, do the thing, but I would work to pay my bills and get high and then seclude myself in my apartment, my bedroom that I split with a guy I barely knew that I found on like Craigslist.
Yeah.
And it just, and then once
How long did that go on for?
About a year.
Okay.
Yeah, about a year.
Okay.
Pills ran out eventually. And then, you know, me and my friends at the time that used, we would go to these huge house parties. And one of us would go in and like be social. The rest of us would run everybody's cars in the parking lot. Right. So like at this point, like I'm still working, but I'm not making enough money to like keep, you know, the drugs there. Cause now they're $2 a pop. Even if I'm buying 150 at a time, they're still expensive to where we're like robbing cars. Right. So like, that's where the crime started coming in, where I was like, okay.
Was the crime an easy transition because you're full blown now? Like it didn't.
There was no second thought.
I guess. Okay. So that's kind of my question. Is it because obviously I've never battled anything on that level, but does it get to a point where it just turns off that right from wrong switch where it's like, I just need money to feed this habit?
I knew it was wrong. Right. Like that moral compass was always, no, not always. The moral compass was there in the early days.
Okay.
Right. But I needed these drugs, like physically, mentally, emotionally dependent on these. Right. I think what people truly grasp about opiates is it's not purely physical.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the next one. If I can't get the next one, I'm breaking down emotionally, probably sobbing, figuring it out, asking people to help me out, or I'm super angry, or like emotionally, I'm so driven by them. Physically, I'm so driven by them. Mentally, it's all I can think about. Right.
So your whole day is consumed by the next fix.
But if I have enough to last me a couple of days, that's not my thought. That thought is I'm going to feel as good as I can for these next couple of days, and then I'll figure it out. You know, robbing cars, and we all I feel like half the town that I grew up in was addicted. Like most of the people that I was running with were people I went to high school with, people that I grew up with, people that I knew their parents. They knew my parents. They knew me.
Yeah.
Right. I know that just to looking back and seeing that just sickness and just rapid decline of a whole community
that
quickly. And then not just pills at that point in time, heroin was starting to come around because the pills were getting too expensive. So people that were just eating a few pills a day or snorting them were now sniffing heroin or doing IV drug usage of heroin, right? Like shooting heroin is the term, right? To just a massive just sickness and decline in our local community, to where I know our local PD was struggling with it, right? Like I went to high school with some of the guys that are on the force, right? I know that they see us and they're like, damn, Logan was a really good football player. It's just sad to see, right? Like I know his
You're
mom.
one of them.
Yeah.
So how long, so you're chasing the next, make enough money.
Yeah.
You're now robbing cars to try to get more opium. Oxys, right, is what you're on? And so you're trying to get more oxys. Now that you're going to $2 a freaking milligram or whatever, I mean, that gets expensive. So when did it come to the point where you knew you couldn't afford that anymore and you had to look elsewhere?
It wasn't more of a conscious decision as it was one of necessity, right?
For sure.
Because eventually the pills just dried. Like DEA had enough. I know the East Coast was rocking, right?
Yeah.
Like New York, Pennsylvania, DC, Baltimore, Maryland, DMV, all of it was getting hit by DEA. Like I knew people that were just getting knocked off and having to do federal time, to where the pills were gone. Right? Even the people that you knew could find something could not find anything. Mm-hmm. So it was a summer day, right, in July. I remember it vividly. I was sitting in my buddy's house. Him and I were in the first depths of our addiction. I'll call it that. We were phase 1.
Yeah.
I love that dude to death. He's clean and sober now too. He's got a couple kids, and I'm not gonna say his name, but he knows. We actually chatted a couple of days ago, and I was like, hey, I'm not gonna say your name, but I'm gonna make sure that you're in my story because I love you, and
he's part of it too.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you're okay. So we're both there, obviously doing sneaky shit, right? He was like, oh, I gotta run to the grocery store for my dad. His dad's in the kitchen. I'm like, bullshit. You're gonna go get drugs, all right? And I called another dude, and he was like, yeah, come over. Yeah, I got it. Come over. So I walk over, right? Still in a small town. I go in, I walk in, I'm like, oh, thank God, dude. I haven't been able to find anything for like 2 days at this point. And after 12 to 24 hours, you're feeling withdrawal, right? So I'd already been like 2 days deep into it, sweating. He was like, look, dude, I don't have any pills. He was like, I got pills, but they're not oxycodone. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, oh, okay. What is it, like morphine? Blah, blah, blah. He was like, no, this is called Scramble. Now, Scramble's unique to Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay, I've never heard of Scramble.
So what Scramble is, it's a mix of fentanyl, a mix of heroin,
oh my God,
benzos, and then what's called quinine, which is a cutting agent, right? Quinine gives you the rush that you feel. Yeah. And I was like, dude, okay. At that point, I was so sick. Like, and when I say sick, like you like have the shits, you're throwing up. It was a miracle that I walked the block to his house.
I mean, you pretty much want to die.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, look, dude, I've never done this. I don't know how. So my first experience with like Scramble was IV usage. Yeah. So like right off the bat. So I watched him, cook it up, draw it back in the syringe. And what's crazy is you could tell the different cutting agents or what it's cut with or the level of how much heroin compared to fentanyl ratio.
Is he cooking this shit on a spoon or what?
Yeah. Oh yeah. The way you see it in movies, right? Spoon, water, cotton, needle. Same way.
You're watching this go down. You're not like,
no, I was sick, dude. I was so sick, right? Like
you just need to get rid of it.
Yep. And I remember holding my arm out and the comment he made, because he was already doing that for a while at this point. Like at this point, I was best friends with his brother, his younger brother, but not him and the older one. Okay. He looked at, I had like perfect veins. He's like, oh, I could do this with my fucking eyes closed. And like, did it. And I just, as soon as that plunger hit and was done and empty, the worst way to describe this is it's the best feeling I've ever had in my entire life. I watched my son be born, right? And that's the only thing that's ever competed with that feeling, right?
Oh, shit.
Only thing that has ever competed. It's number one, right? He's number one. But like, that's the only way that I can think of your best memory, your best moment. And that happens anytime you do it.
That's what keeps you coming back?
5-6 days a week, 5-6 times a day. That's how good. It's the best memory, moment, feeling, everything. What takes 10 seconds, maybe, if you're lucky. And that's when I was hooked.
That's all it took.
Yeah. And then the price.
That's terrifying, bro.
But the price difference was also a selling point, right? So like if I can find one oxycodone 30 milligram for 60, 70, 80 bucks, I can buy 8 to 10 of those.
For Scramble.
Yep.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. But I was so afraid of using needles myself that the only way I could do it was to go to their house for him to do it. Right. So essentially I became like attached to them in their house. Granted, I'm tight with the little brother, right? He's the one I called. To his credit, he didn't know, right? He was doing that, but he thought that they also had like actual pills, because what he told me later, he was like, no, I told them that you don't do that, right? Like, yeah, dude, that was my first encounter with Scramble, with fentanyl. And fentanyl I know fentanyl is like a hot topic right now, but like, dude, I have been dealing with fentanyl since my early ages of my addiction, dude.
It's been in the game for a long time, but I feel now it's gotten dude, the potency of it is terrifying.
I don't know about the potency, just it's in everything.
Everything.
Literally, like even people that don't do like opiates are overdosing on fentanyl. Like, people are doing meth or cocaine or you know, whatever party drugs that they get, like,
At least with
yeah,
fentanyl.
it all is, right? So yeah, that was my introduction into IV drug usage, was right there, and I never looked back.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
How long were you associated with these guys?
Oh, all of my addiction.
Really?
All of my addiction.
That was your main.
Oh, not as like the plug or whatever that I got them from. Like, no, but they were, I was friends with the youngest brother through high school and, you know, years after high school. So when I say my community was gripped, you couldn't, you know, throw a stone without hitting someone, right? Like,
That bad, huh?
so we essentially teamed up, the two of us, and then the three of us teamed up, and we were buying it because you could still get it for a decent price where we were from, and just using it all the time. I'd go to work, and I was like a server at a restaurant wearing long sleeves in August in Maryland, where it's like 90% humidity and 100 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, my boss be like, hey, why are you covering your arms? I'm like, oh, I got a new tattoo, because they had to know you couldn't show your tattoos at work, but they didn't ask me to show it. I'm just wearing long sleeves and showing up to work.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so you take that and, you know, obviously you're injecting. Because, you know, certain drugs have horrible immediate side effects where you're just zombie mode and you're just laid out. What's it do to you immediate? Like, what's the initial, besides obviously the euphoric rush? Are you just laid out? Are you like up and going? I mean,
dude, it just depends on the ratio of what is in there, right? Like, some of them would be cut with like benzos. So obviously those are the ones where you'll see people like nodded out, right? I've done that plenty of times. Or there would just be a little bit extra quinine, and it's just fentanyl and heroin. And then I'm not like zombied out, but like my eyes aren't open. I'm, you know, slurring my speech, walking around, like still am, you know, still able to move. And then it got to the point where like that didn't even happen, when I would just feel good. Because my tolerance started jumping.
Okay.
Like,
so then you need to start chasing that.
Yeah.
So what'd you chase that with? Just more?
Yeah. More is literally the adjective of my whole story. Just more. Right. How am I going to get more? How can I buy more? How can I steal to get more? You know, who can I rob to get more?
Damn.
Yeah.
You started robbing people?
Besides the car thing, not until later.
Okay.
Yeah. So this phase kind of about a year and a half, right? And
you're still functioning in town?
Yeah. I'm still working, you know. My family kind of had a small inkling, right?
So you're a high functioning addict at this time.
Most addicts I know until towards the end were high functioning.
Okay.
Right? Like, we were keeping it very under wraps.
Okay.
The restaurant that I worked at the time, everyone was addicted to opiates. Cooks, bartenders, barbacks, servers, we were all connected. It was a big hub. Yeah. Someone would be like, we just pool in a bunch of money before shift. Someone would run up, you know, drive with Baltimore, drive back, come back with everything we needed. We'd be good.
How far is Baltimore from where you're at?
Hour and a half.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, it wasn't like a 5 minute. No. This is a trek you have to take.
Okay.
So yeah, dude, I'm a functioning addict. And then it got to the point where I kind of stopped being functioning, and I got into trouble with the law.
What'd you do?
Which one was this? I think I got a possession charge. Okay. Something like that. It was driving on suspended. It was driving on a suspended charge because I didn't have my license at the time. And I had to like report to probation. Went to probation, couldn't pee clean. The judge was like, I'm going to put you in jail, or you can go to rehab. My mom was like, oh my God, I didn't know you had this drug problem. Let's get you the best help we can get.
So your parents, now you're years into this, right? Yeah. I mean, you're 2 or 3 years into an addiction, and your parents were just finding out.
I think they knew something was off. I don't think their son was shooting heroin. I don't think that was like the tip of like their mind that this is what's happening.
Yeah.
I think they probably thought I still was having issues with pills.
Okay.
So my mom found a really nice rehab center that was in my home state, 20 minutes away from my hometown. And I went there, right? I made the decision that I was going to go, so I didn't go to jail, right? I was like, I don't want to go to jail. I'm not built for jail. I go, I stay, clean. And they're like, hey, well, you should go to a halfway house, right? So I went to the halfway house. The halfway house at the time that I was in were most of the people that I saw in my active addiction, but they disappeared, right? Like I didn't see them in my addiction anymore. So they had like a year sober at this time.
Okay.
So on and so forth. I go to the recovery house. I'm doing good, passing drug tests, and I'm downstairs across the parking lot at a coffee shop, and I see one of the people that I know that has drugs. Now, I haven't encountered anyone at this point. This is the first encounter with people that I know I can buy drugs off of. They dap me up. They're like, oh, you know, I'm not going to say my street name on here just because that shit is that shit's dead. But, hey, where you been? I was like, oh, I got sober. And they're like, what do you mean? You just don't have any money? I was like, no, I went to rehab. And They're like, all right, well, look, the first 5 are on me. I was like, the 5? Right, not 1. 5? They're like, yeah, first 5 are on me. I was like, fuck. I was like, let me think about it. I took 5 steps out of the coffee shop, spun back. I said, look, can I buy some too and still get 5 for free? Yeah, hell yeah. They're like, come get in the car. And I got high again.
Did you have any remorse?
No, dude.
Have anything, or was it just you needed it?
I didn't need it, but the lifestyle was so ingrained in me that I didn't know how to not do it.
Okay.
Right? Like running and gunning, getting high, working, doing all the things. You know, I was working on the farm that my dad was managing at the time. So like really boring. All I did was go to NA meetings, go to work, come back and sit at home, right? Or sit at the halfway house. So I got high again. I made it maybe 2 more weeks of the recovery house, right? Peed dirty. They're like, hey, we got to kick you out for 24 hours. You can come back tomorrow.
What's the point of that?
Just so you're not high in front of everybody else,
Okay.
which is very fair.
Okay.
Right. I wasn't on probation or anything, right? Like I successfully done the things probation asked me, right? So like no consequences, minus having to tell my parents I got kicked out, which I didn't do. I lied about. So I go back the next 24, pee dirty again. They're like, dude, we'll help you. They extended the olive branch. We will get you right back in the same rehab that you were at, right? Because again, small town, small recovery community. All the centers know the recovery houses. The owners of the recovery houses know people to get you in. I was like, I don't have a problem. I'm good, dude. I stopped the everyday stuff. They're like, well, it's been 2 days and you peed dirty every day. If you had just used once, it would be out by now, right? Because your system is essentially cleaned out. And then we're back in it, right? Like,
damn,
like it never stopped, dude. So I have to tell my parents, hey, you know, I just, the recovery house just wasn't working for me. I don't want to live with a bunch of guys. I made up every excuse in the world to sound legitimate. Yeah. And then what was the people that I went to rehab with, like the people that were in the same time frame, all were like contacting each other. We would talk every day. They were like, hey, let's have a little reunion. And I was like, yeah, let's do it at my house. So we did it at my parents' house. Failing my mom, ate dinner, did all the things. We're sitting there chatting about the good times. Like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. I'd walk upstairs in my room, got high, came back down. And I remember one of the girls that was there, she looked at me dead into the windows of my soul, right through my eyes, and just knew. And she just looked at me and got up. She was like, hey guys, I'm leaving. And just left. No one else realized, right? So they all leave. After that, I stopped contacting them. And I'm just running again.
How long did that last?
Till I went to rehab the second time.
So you go through rehab, find every excuse in the book.
Yeah.
Tell your parents everything besides, hey, I got kicked out for pissing hot.
Yep.
How long until you end up in Baltimore?
This is the phase where we go to Baltimore.
This is the phase?
This is the phase.
Okay, so you don't make... So how long were you in rehab before you got
30 days.
So 30 days clean, running your homie.
So I had probably close to like 40 to 50 days by the time I ran into them. Like I'd been at the recovery house for like 3 weeks, right? I'd settled in, you know, and then ran into this person.
Damn.
So yeah, contact with all my support system, right? I'm still working, right? Like I was still using every day, but not to the point where I was not functioning.
Okay.
I had a friend that was working on the farm with us as well. Me and him were just bouncing bad ideas off each other left and right? Like, hey, let's work this, and then we'll leave for lunch break and go get Scramble, and then we'll come back and work again and because we were off books. We weren't getting like actual like paychecks with like taxes, and we're getting cash, right? So him and I went just off the deep end, and it got to a point where I was introduced to Baltimore, like going up there. I hadn't been up there to like buy drugs yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was riding with two people, one of which now works in recovery, same as me. I'm glad that they got their life together too. And I was like, hey, I've got $400. Can you get this? They're like, we don't have anything. You can ride up with us. All you got to do is give me $20 for gas. And then whatever we get it for, you can get it for, but you cannot tell anyone where we're going or that you came with us. Cool. We go up, and we're going into Baltimore, right? We take the exit. We go in, go past this rural farms that's on the left, where that will come back into my story. We go up what's called Monroe in west side of Baltimore.
Okay.
And I'm freaked out because my only interpretation of Baltimore is gun violence that I see from the news and watching The Wire and knowing that it's rough, because I knew we were going to the west side or the east side to get drugs.
Yeah.
Right? I was hip to the game at that point. So we go to the west side, pull in Monroe. I lock my door, right? Physically hit it with my hand. They're like, hey, chill out, bro. Like, it's fine. They rolled the windows down. We're driving up, and the one person was like, I want you to listen to what's being said. And you just hear all across the street, the whole block, boy, girl, soft, hard, scramble, raw, blah, 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 blah. It's an open air drug market. And cops are parked on the corner. They do not give a fuck. All they care about, guns, right? So if the drug dealer shows no signs of guns on his body, they are doing nothing, right? Because this is so systemic for them.
Yeah.
It's been years upon years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm blown away, right? So they pull up, put the windows up. They're like, hey, we got a guy. We just wanted you to see how easy this is going to be for you when you need to come up by yourself. I was like, okay. Meet the guy. Get the drugs. They also get crack cocaine. At this point, I'm not on it, right? I had like some sort of morals at that point to not do a certain drug. Like, I'll shoot heroin, but no crack, no thank you.
That's your
gross.
mindset.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's like smoking crack, freaking out. I shoot up. They're like, hey, can you drive? We're geeking out. Yeah, I'll drive. Drive back. And we did that together for a little bit, a couple months. And then it got to the point where the one person got arrested. The other one was like, I'm going to rehab. So I started driving myself.
Okay.
Right. So now I'm going up to Baltimore every day, right? Because I'm buying drugs. I'm coming back and dispersing them as they need to be dispersed. Back again, up and down, up and down.
You're running them now.
Yeah.
Are you making money off of this?
Oh, hell yeah.
And this is supporting it.
I mean, I'm spending maybe $5 on one because I would buy like 250 in a pack is 250 a pill.
Yeah.
I'd spend $5 per, go back and sell them for 20. Right.
Oh, so you're making good
Making
money.
Good money.
Okay.
But all of that's going to my addiction and gas, right? So I'm going up, going back, going up, going back, going up.
Every day?
Yeah. 7 days a week.
And you never got popped up there?
Yes. Yeah, I got popped.
Okay.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I was gonna say that. Dude, you're going way too much.
No. I got popped. I've had like one in my like heyday of it. I'd be followed by the police, right? Like to where like luckily I figured out a way to stash it to where they couldn't find it at the time, and to where a drug dog wouldn't alert either, which was wild for me.
How are you getting past a drug dog?
So I had the O.J. Simpson Bronco,
Okay.
right? And the center, I would pull it out, right, where the center console sat, and I would put foam in it, right? And then with that foam, I would also wrap it in masking tape, and then I put foam underneath, and the tape, so when it shut, it's sealed, right? So it's almost airtight, but they could have alerted, dude. It was luck most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm running and gunning, up and down, up and down. And then it got to the point where like I'd run out of options back at home, where like I got a phone call, or my dad got a phone call from some officers he knew, because he used to be a sheriff at one point, where they were like, your son is doing this, tell him to back the fuck off or he's going to get arrested. So after that, I was like, oh, okay, well, I clearly have to like leave town. So I go to Baltimore in my Bronco, and I decided I'll just live up here. It'll be so much easier if I just live up here. I'll tell people, I'll cut the price down, make them come to me, right? Because I had all these connections at this point. Like I had met a bunch of people, and nothing like bad had happened yet, right? Like this was like the heyday of it. I hadn't had any serious consequences. Like none of the crazy stuff was really going on. I just knew the right people. They watched out for me because I spent a bunch of money. That's all of that relationship was, right? Like
you're still in the if I could flip my life around stage, there's still a little bit of hope left in it.
Yeah.
You haven't like leaped off yet. I mean, you're fully engulfed in this, but
dude, it was
you haven't gone like I feel like there's stages, and you're still in stage. You're phase 1 still.
Yeah. Phase. I'd say
Going
like
into phase 2.
moving up there was starting phase 2, right?
For sure.
Because I lived in my Bronco, and then I found they're called Bandos, so like an abandoned house, where I was stealing electric from the neighbor by like wiring shit to their like electric box into my extension cord into there. So I had like one lamp lit up, no heat. So I'm either living in the Bronco or I'm living in the Bando. I'm shooting up. I know all of these drug dealers at this point. Like I'm recognized on the street. They know who I am, right? I've spent enough time up there now to where like, yeah, it was nothing at the time. Right. Okay. And then it just started getting out of hand. No real consequences yet. Like my family knew I was missing. They didn't know what the fuck was going on. They knew I'm addicted to heroin. They don't know where I'm at. And I'm just up there living. And I called my mom one day. I was like, "Hey, I want to go back to rehab. Like, I'm homeless. I'm living in Baltimore. I need help." And she was like, "Cool, come home." All right. So I went home. But the thing is, the heroin or the Scramble now was so just fentanyl mostly, right? And like a bunch of different benzos.
Okay.
And, quinine, to where when I went to rehab, dude, they said my urinalysis lit up like a Christmas tree. There wasn't nothing on there that I didn't pee dirty for. Like, that's how, like, diluted, like, the Scramble was. Because you're still thinking it had heroin. There's no heroin. Right? Like, it was all fentanyl at this point.
Damn.
So I go to rehab. I last 3 days. 3 days. Right? And I'm hallucinating through these withdrawals, right? Because of, benzo withdrawal. And, the same counselor that I had before was there, and she was like, "Damn, dude, you look a million times worse than the last time I saw you. Even when you first came in the last time, you didn't look this bad." I lasted 3 days, and I grabbed my stuff, walked to the end of the lane, and sat there. Because they were like, "We're not going to give you a ride anywhere. Like, you're leaving against medical advisement. That's our policy." And some maintenance guy just so happened to be driving up. And he was like, where you need to go? I was like, "I got to go to trap." He was like, "Well, luckily for you, I'm off work. Get in." So, but I had like lost weight at this point. I was like 150 pounds, right? Like I sit at like 210 right now, right? So I'm skinny. I look like shit. I go back home. I get dropped off. Family's fucking livid. They're livid at this point because, when I was up there on this little gap, like I was meeting all these drug dealers, but I was also transporting them to do other shit, right? Like some of them were carrying guns to go places. I would drive them to go pick up. They'd hit me with, a decent amount of drugs. So I was like driving people, making moves, like building my own little network that I knew when I got back up there, I'm good. I just needed to get there.
Okay.
Right. So they had kind of taken the vehicle at this point. Well, they didn't take it. They hit it.
Who's they?
My mom, my dad. Yeah, dude. I came home. They were pissed, and I'd already had my phone out. I already made a phone call to get high. They were like, "What? Why are you here?" They were so upset, dude. Like so upset to where they were like, "Look, you're fucked. You're not going anywhere off of this property. Still on a farm in the middle of nowhere." And I was like, "Hey, I'm still going through withdrawals. I need you to take me here so that I can go get Suboxone." So they're like, "Okay, we'll go."
Suboxone even do anything for you at this point?
I wasn't going to get Suboxone, but yes, it would make me feel better, right? Luckily, I'd been at rehab for 3 days, and they were giving me Subutex, which is kind of like Suboxone. So I was like, hey, this is what I need, blah, blah, blah. They drive me. I met up with somebody. I'd stashed money away in my house. I got drugs again, went back, and was getting high all over again.
Damn, bro, you're in it. You are in it at this point.
For a long period, dude.
So at this point, you're back at your farm. Are you looking for a way? Are you just constantly thinking, how do I get back to Baltimore? Is that your mindset?
I'm thinking, how can I get back? How can I get back in the car to start making money again and going up and back and doing my thing? Because, the heat had died off. There was other people they were worried about now, and I was like, hey, I'm just going to go and sell to the people that I know I can sell to, break even, and then just be able to do that. And that's what I did for a little bit. But so I'm going to keep this one as phase 2 as well. While I was in phase 2, I started shooting up cocaine with the heroin. Yeah. So I was doing what they call speedballs.
How did you even come up with this plan?
One of the random people that I met was like, hey, I'm going to trade you this for this, and here's how to do it, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, cool, I'll try that, and did it. So I get out of rehab, right? I'm back running and gunning. Yeah, dude. It just doesn't get any better until the end, right? It's just a progressive shit show. I'm running and gunning, go up Baltimore. But at this point, I would go up and I'd stay like 3 days and then come back.
Where are you staying? In your car?
In the car.
Okay.
Right? Went back to the same Bando every time.
Really?
People knew that's where I was, right? Like when I came back from rehab the second time, I was still getting high, but I finally went back up like 2 weeks later. People were like, yo, where you been? You look good. And I didn't look good. I just looked better than they looked because I had showered. I started eating food again type shit.
Damn.
Yeah, dude. So I go up there. I'm doing speedballs, right? That kind of got introduced a little bit heavier. And I bought a bunch of drugs, right? Bunch of dope, bunch of coke. I drive out of Baltimore because I was going to go home this time. This is one of those trips where I was like, cool, I'm going to go home. I'm going to hang out for a couple days and then come back up. That way I can sleep in a bed, eat real food. And I pull off at this gas station outside of Baltimore City, which is notorious for people like getting high at. So I get out my drugs. I go into the bathroom. I do the process to use it. I hit myself with the needle. And I started getting tunnel vision. I started going in and out, like woof, woof, where my vision, with my heartbeat, right, is going in and out.
That's not good.
No, hell no. And next thing I know, I black out. I'm out, right? I'm in a gas station, right, like a Royal Farms, blacked out. I wake up and both hands are handcuffed to a hospital gurney.
Oh no.
So I'm handcuffed to a hospital gurney, both hands. I'm covered in ice packs. I'm freezing. There's a nurse standing there. She saw that I was waking up. There's a police officer standing there. And I'm like, oh no.
So you straight up OD'd in this bathroom?
Yeah. No. I didn't, not in the bathroom. Right. Okay. So I wake up and she's like, hey, you're awake. Good. We didn't think you were going to pull through. And I'm like, oh no. And the cop's like, look, we're not going to press charges on you. Cause at that point, paraphernalia and everything they were more worried about like taking care of the addict, right? We're not gonna press charge on you. We threw away your needle, blah, blah, blah. I had more in the fucking car. It didn't matter. So I woke up to them saying they're not gonna press charges, that I'm lucky I made it. They unhandcuffed me, the cop's like, look, dude, you really need to get some help. You really need to get, and I saw like the sincerity in his eyes. He's like, you need help. I'm like, okay. The nurse comes over. She was like, hey, the social worker's gonna come in and talk to you about treatment facilities, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, let me think about it. The cop left. And social work came in. I was like, I don't want to talk to you. I'm good. I just want to get out. I just want to get out of here. She was like, all right, well, we're not going to release you unless a family member picks you up. Right. I was in my mid 20s at this point. I'm an adult. I know that I can leave. And I was like, cool. That's the game. So I pulled up, like, Uber was super new at that time. So I pulled up an Uber, had them come and get me, told the nursing staff, hey, my grandmother's going to be here in 10 minutes. So they let me out. The Uber took me back to the car. I climbed into the back seat of my vehicle, chugged a bunch of water, got high.
Oh my
dude.
God, bro.
So what the nurse
Wild.
what the nurse told me in there was, she was like, the heroin didn't stop your heart, the cocaine stopped your heart.
You did that? There was that much coke?
Yeah. But it wasn't like a mass volume of it, dude. Like, I was getting that like crazy of quality that like the vial was maybe an inch big, with like a couple centimeters wide to like put like a couple of like bits of powder in.
Was that pure?
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all terrifying because you don't know what is what at any moment.
Dude, it was, but I there's one of the pictures I sent you when I'm in the hospital bed.
Yeah.
That's the selfie I took before I left the hospital. That was that time when I was like, took a selfie of it, put it somewhere to like get sympathy from somebody saying that I was sick. And I just went right back to running and gunning, dude. And it got progressively worse after that.
When did you end up homeless?
I was then, but not like full time.
Yeah.
So I didn't tell my family this happened. They didn't find out I had overdosed until I was like out of the addiction. Like,
really?
Just telling a story one day. My mom was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I thought I told you. I'm sorry." Right? Like, yeah, that happened. This is blah blah blah. So
that was your first time OD.
That was my first and only time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That didn't scare you enough to.
Nope.
Okay.
Like I said, mentally, physically, emotionally, I'm so wrapped up in the game. I'm wrapped up in the chaos of getting it, of my life being in danger, not only copping it, going into the hole, coming out of the hole, getting to my car, right? The adrenaline rush.
All high.
Yeah. And then getting high, right? So after that, that's when I was homeless. I was like, there's no turning back from this, right? Like, I would sell it. People would come up, meet me, right? And I'm living in the same bando the whole time, to the point where like I couldn't even afford to put gas in my car, so it would just sit there. And then somebody was like, "Yo, I'll put gas in your car and give you X amount and rent it, so I can make some moves and I'll get you well and give you some extra." To where I was doing that, right? People would rent the car, they put gas in it, then they leave me gas, so now I could make a little bit more moves and then pick people up, get back with my connects, and just continue the same cycle, dude.
It's the shuffle of
what
the next play constantly.
Where I was at in Baltimore on the west side had like one of the highest numbers of gun violence.
Okay.
Like active shootings, right? Like it was a daily occurrence to hear a gun go off, right? To hear pop, pop,
for sure.
pop. And I remember one time there was a shopping center, right? Two housing rows away from my bando, and I went to go fill up my water in a sink, right? A 2-liter water that I would use to drink and for getting high. And coming out of the shopping center, and I remember there's a group of people, and these dudes are arguing, right? And like, I'm not paying any mind. This is the west side of Baltimore. This is happening all the time in my world, right? Like, I was just chaos and violence, and the group kind of disperses, and some guy just yells, and you hear dot 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 dot, and some guy got shot maybe 50 yards away from me. People around dispersed, but everybody was just like, it's so surreal. Everybody kind of looked and was like, "Oh shit," and then like went on about their day, and I went on about mine.
Just another day.
That was it. Like, you would see guns regularly. Like, you know, I had multiple guns pulled on me, right? Like, put to my chest, put to my head, like being robbed. And I remember one time I went to go meet one of my like solid connects. He had a lot of money. He told me to pull into this alleyway, right? So I pulled and parked. But again, there's all kinds of people roving through here, right? Like, this guy doesn't own an alleyway. Maybe who he works for has like a say on it. So I'm sitting there. I hear one rack in the chamber. Gun points to my temple, right? I'm on the driver's side, comes through. And the dude was like, "Look, white boy, you don't meet here unless you have money." He was like, "Give me all of your money." And I was smart in the game at that point, so I would only keep like $100 in my glove compartment to pull out if something like that happened. The rest was hidden like in the bottom of my sock, where like you'd have to physically remove me, right? Like possibly get seen and caught, take my sock off, take the money from me. I was like, "Look, dude, I only have $100. That's all I got." you can have it. He was like, open it up. I open it up. He's got the gun. His buddy came on the other side, looked through. He was like, it's only $100, dude. He was like, what kind of cell phone you had? I had a cheap fucking flip phone. I was like, this? He was like, God damn it. He was like, get the money. He was like, you're going to sit here until I'm gone. When I'm gone, I don't care what you do. He left. Called my boy. I was pissed. I was like, are you fucking robbed me? I was like, is this what we're doing now? He was like, I don't know what you're talking about. He was like, what do you mean? I'm about to turn in the alley now. And as soon as he said that, a car comes behind me, parks, gets out. And he gets out and comes to my window. He was like, oh shit, are you good? I'm like, no, I just got robbed at gunpoint waiting for you. He was like, what do they look like? And I tried to give a description. I was like, they look like every other jack boy on the corner. So he gave me extra. He was like, look, you call this number if you need anything. And then he slid me a handgun and was like, if you need anything, you call me or you use this. So I took it and that stayed in my car for a while. And then I ended up selling it for drugs.
For sure.
Yeah.
Was that the worst robbery you had done to you?
No.
What was the worst case? What was the worst time you've been robbed?
The worst time I was robbed, kind of same scenario, except I was on foot and I bent a corner to go meet my guy, pouring down rain. I call him, where you at? He's like, I'm 5 minutes away, hang tight, try to stay underneath something. Standing there, and then somebody grabs me from behind, right? And like a chokehold, and a guy comes out, puts gun right on my chest, right? And I'm full blown in my addiction. I had no like real possessions. I just had some money on me.
Yeah.
Again, money in the sock, right? Saved me more times than I can count. They take off my backpack, look through it. I got shit in there. Take my shoes, take my shirt, let me have my pants. I had a St. Christopher's medal that my mom had given me, and they took that. Right? It was sterling silver. That's the one thing that I never really sold. And then he was like, "Get on your knees. We're just gonna kill you." And I was like, "Okay." They were like, "Give me everything you got." I was like, "Dude, I'm a fucking junkie. I don't have anything for you to take right now. You have it all. All you got is some extra needles that I have and a change of clothes and my shirt and my shoes." He put the gun to my head and he was like, fuck. And he walked away.
No shit.
Yeah. I mean, I've got plenty encounters where I should have died, where I should have just been another statistic for Baltimore City, dude.
I mean, okay. You're rolling west side of Baltimore. I mean, how many other white dudes are rolling around there?
Very few. Right.
So you stick out. That's how people,
hell yeah.
People recognize you so quick because you're
early days. Yeah. Cause I was still like healthy and like eating food, but like the ones that you'll see like that will be there are not your healthy early ones. That's the ones where I was in the car and I was really secretive about meeting people. But when I was homeless up there, people knew who I was. They knew my street name. They knew me, but also with knowing certain people, it means I can't go around other certain people because I deal with them and not you.
For sure.
Right. So
you don't need to tell me your street name, but how'd you get your street name? How do street names come about?
Bro, it's so fucking simple. I wasn't giving out my real name, and one of my close friends at the time, he was like, bro, we can't roll up there and not have a name for you. You're gonna sound like a cop. So he gave me a street name, and it was 2 letters. It's so simple.
Okay.
Yeah. But
okay.
Dude, it's stuck, and that's what people knew me as up
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, dude, after that, I mean, no shirt, pouring down rain. I met the dude, still had my money. He was like, yo, let me get you some fucking shoes. Hold on. Like, went to his car, pulled out some shoes that were like 2 sizes too small, right? Gave me a shirt. He was like, damn, dog. He was like, all right, like, you just come to my house from now on. And then I just continued to be homeless, dude, through like all seasons, like summer, winter, spring, fall, like all of it. Just kept voluntarily doing it. But I kept telling myself that there was no way out, but I had a way out the whole time, right? Like,
just haven't reached.
No, I could have went to rehab. I could have called my parents. I had been missing, right? Like at one point they started calling hospitals in Baltimore to see if like I was in there or if I had died, and they had like a John Doe at the morgue, right? Like,
damn, bro.
Like thinking,
you don't know that's going on at the time, right? Or did you find that out afterwards?
I found that out after.
Damn. Now you're parents. So you process that completely different.
Yeah, dude. Now, like, as a parent, it's like, I know they lost sleep. I know I aged them years. Like, I remember seeing my dad again after not seeing him for a while, just the grays in his hair, and my mom just looking like she hadn't slept in years.
Yeah.
Right? Like I cared, but I couldn't care enough to stop.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I physically could not.
Once it's got its hooks in you, I mean, it's... What was some of the dark shit of being homeless, on the streets, severe drug addict?
Mm-hmm.
What's the dark side? Like the shit that your normal everyday person has no idea what's going on.
You're looked at as a dollar sign, right? As an animal, right? They don't care. No one cares about you. The police don't care. The hospitals don't care. The dealers don't care. You're essentially alone, but you're in the middle of a fucking city of other junkies. But it's so dog eat dog that even if I say you're my friend, you're not my friend, right? It puts you at an emotional depth to where I wasn't capable of feeling feelings. I was in survival mode. It was either me or you, and it's not going to be me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's going to be you. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I can to keep, prevailing on top. Dark wise, dude, I mean, feeling so fucking helpless because you don't want to get high anymore, but you can't stop getting high.
Yeah.
Feeling like there's no way out, or when you're trying to get high, but your veins are so blown out from multiple usage and you're dehydrated, you haven't eaten, you haven't slept, and you're sobbing, trying to get a vein and blood to come back, or watching people overdose. And if you were one of the lucky ones that had Narcan on you, you would hit them with the Narcan and then you'd walk the fuck away.
Did you ever get hit with Narcan?
I never got hit with Narcan, no. I've hit, in my addiction, 6 people with Narcan.
You carried it on you, or just people have it around?
Because they would do a needle exchange in Baltimore to kind of harm reduction, right? Like HIV, Hep C, all that. To where you would give them your old needles, they would give you new needles, like sterile water, bunch of Narcan. They would just fucking hand it out, and that was the nasal spray at the time. And I don't know what it was about me, but I was always like, people would throw it away, and I'd be like, let me get that. Like, let me have the Narcan. And I would just hit people, dude. Like, still that like small sense of me, like who I actually was
Still in there.
was still in there, where I couldn't like not help someone.
Yeah.
Right. But there came a time when I didn't have it and I couldn't help someone. I watched someone overdose and die.
How was that?
At the time, it was nothing. It was nothing to me. I was so numbed out to the world and emotions. Now looking back, that kid had a mom, he had a dad.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I didn't really know his story. I just knew him from the street and knew that I would get high with him sometime. And I remember we just so happened, there was like 5 or 6 of us happened to duck into this bando when it was raining so we could just get high, use the flame and get high. And we all got high, and then you just look over and he's foaming at the mouth, and he just fell out. And I didn't have any Narcan. No one else had Narcan. I didn't know CPR training at the time. There's nothing you could do, right? Like, I knew to try and sternum rub to like
keep him up.
The fentanyl was so strong at the time. He just died, and we just left.
Did you no calls, no nothing?
Who am I going to call?
Yeah.
Police don't care, right? Like, I've physically brought people to the ER. I had a guy overdose in my front seat, my passenger seat one time, and I pulled into the emergency room hot, beating my horn. I run in, and this guy's overdosed in my car. They took their fucking time to come get him. They took their sweet, no like rush. Let me get out there. The ER was like, or the ER was like, cool, okay, we're coming. And then like 3 minutes later, like 3 nurses and a cop came out, put him on a stretcher.
Which is eternity while you're overdosing.
Yeah, dude. I mean, when you're not breathing in general, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know what happened to him. I hope he survived, but I never saw him after that. But they wheeled him in, and they told me, like, hey, you should probably just get the fuck out of here. Right? Like, the times I was pulled over, right? Like, I was pulled over so many times, driving on suspended, no license, car full of drugs. I remember a cop one time, he was like, where are all your drugs? And I would separate them. And I would have the bag just in case this happened. A couple of them, I was like, this is all I got, officer. And he's like, where are you from? I'm not from here. He was like, you should probably get the fuck out of here. We'll take your drugs. He's like, go. I don't want you to see you around here anymore. Then I'd whip the block, go get more, and look him right in his eyes. And he wouldn't do shit. They didn't care about junkies or drug addicts or even the drugs in general. They just care about the guns.
What was the hardest lesson that you learned on the streets?
You can't trust anyone. Not one person.
Pretty lonely?
Yeah, it's all lonely. And that was after I went to rehab the second time, right? Now this is all building up. I'm on the streets long term at this point, right? Been through winters on the streets, summers. I would have occasional moments where I'd go back home and ask my family for help, and they would try, but the hooks were in so deep.
Mm-hmm.
They just didn't work. And watching people get taken advantage of, you know, I at one point I lived in an abandoned house with a bunch of sex workers, and they just needed someone to watch the street for them while they did their thing, so nothing would happen to them, right? So, like,
what do you mean, watch the street?
Like watch. So like if they would pick up a John and pull up to their little parking spot, I would stand on the corner and make sure that nothing happened to them.
Oh, like
they're not watching for cops. They don't give a fuck. Watching for them. And I did that for a while, and they would pay me. And then one night I couldn't go out because I was with another one, like watching for, she doesn't come back. Okay. So I went back with the same girl to watch for the next one, didn't come back. I did it one more time. Another girl didn't come back. And no one ever fucking knew what happened, right? Like, that was just the cost of the streets. That was the life that everyone lived. And I went back to my own band. I was like, I got to figure out my own way, because this is too much, and I don't know what's going to happen with you guys, but I got to go.
How much of a difference is it being a woman on the streets? I mean, obviously, if you're living in abandoned houses, are they in there with you? I mean, are they just getting taken advantage of 24/7? I mean, how hard is it for being a woman on the streets?
It's hard. It's easier and harder.
Okay.
On its own right. Like, as a man, I can protect myself more. As a woman, you know, not so much, but, you know, they also have certain things that they can offer that I can't.
Yeah.
Equally as hard for
Easier for them to get money, though.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. But it's just hard all around, right? Like, in ways that was easier for me, was harder for them. I watched people be at their worst. People that weren't using drugs be at their worst. People that were using drugs be at their worst. I thought I knew the capacity of man's evil in that moment when I was seeing all that, but I yet to learn more lessons.
What made you realize that what man is capable of, what the true evil of what's on the streets?
So, right, I knew a bunch of people. I started working for a group. And I was told beforehand by people on the street, like people that sold drugs and people that use drugs, do not get involved.
This is a gang?
Yes and no, right? Like, all of the dealers are affiliated somehow, but I wasn't directly working for like
A specific
an
one?
affiliated gang, right? Like,
Okay.
I wasn't like jumped in or anything. Like, I just knew people, and knew people called me, and they would get served, and I would get, you know, what I needed, or I'd look out on the corner. Well, I ended up getting in the hole with these people for a pretty decent amount of money.
Okay.
And, you know, they gave me an ultimatum. They're like, you can work it off, or you can just pay us right the fuck now. Right. Because I'd shown that I was good at what I did, and then I could bring sales to them. So I worked the money off, essentially. Right.
How did you get into the hole, though?
Just not paying them back,
Okay.
using more than I could make in a day, into where, like, they're keeping tabs, right? Like, they're like, yeah, they're never going to tell me no. They're not gonna be like, no. Because, like, at the end of the day, it's going to be money for them, you know, and long term, right? Either they get it from me now, or they're going to get it from me later, or, so I cleared even with them, and they were like, hey, we got a, you know, good deal. We're going to set you up. We're going to set you up with a certain amount. That way you give us percentage, you stay high, but we need to meet this percentage. Come meet us. So I walk up there again. I'm fully homeless. At this point, dude, I'm like 135 pounds, 130 pounds. I'm a skeleton, bro. I go and meet them. I walk into the room that they were in. There's a bunch of people in there, which wasn't out of the norm, right? Wasn't any warning flags going off, right? Like, again, but also numb to my surroundings. Probably wouldn't have heeded them if they went off. And I see, the guy that essentially I worked for was there. And he was like, yeah, here they are, bro. Like, we got some ground rules, and then black. I woke up naked. I was being held down over a table. And I was taught a pretty hard lesson on the evils of mankind that day. And as a grown man, maybe 26, to be sexually assaulted in that way broke everything that I had inside. And I didn't think, in those days, I didn't think it could get worse. I was like, I've bottomed out. This is as bad as it can get. It can't get any worse than this. And then it got worse. And that moment is where everything got so dark, to the point where I knew I was killing myself with my addiction, and I wanted to do it. I didn't care if I lived anymore. Right?
Damn.
I had taken the one thing that I could still call my own manhood, my own masculinity, right?
Robbed
whatever dignity I had, and it's gone. And when I came to, right, they put the drugs in my hand, and they said, we'll see you when you sell the rest of these. So it's not like I could have just left. Couldn't leave. I was there now.
You didn't fight. You couldn't fight. You just, was it just a submission at that point? I mean,
I did my best, right? But at 130 pounds, being held down by 3 or 4 different dudes, right? And I'm not a tall guy, right? I didn't submit, but I couldn't stop them. There was no physical way for me to stop.
Yeah.
And if I had, they probably would have killed me. Looking back, they wanted to teach me a lesson, right? Like, you can't fuck around, right? And I had known people that had dealt with them before, and I didn't understand the look in their eyes until I had the look in mine, where I was like, fuck. Because I saw one of the girls the next day, and it's not like they broadcast what happened, but she looked at me and she fucking knew. She knew where I was mentally and what had happened. And that was the first hug I had gotten in years, for someone to recognize another broken human being, to hug them. There's nothing she could say to me. She didn't say, I hope you feel better. I know what you're going through. She just hugged me and then let me go, and I had to go on about my day.
And that wasn't rock bottom.
I was almost there, right? Like, that was, yeah. That's when everything went really dark. Where
did your mind go from there? Because obviously it's going to split. Did you, all right, I'm in this, I'm committed, or fuck, I
had no choice. They didn't give me after that, if they were like, you're done with us, this is the lesson that you needed to learn, don't fuck with us, a clean break. But they knew what they were doing when they gave me the drugs and told me I still had to make a percentage, that I wasn't backing out.
They owned you.
Essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So I fucking sold the drugs, and my usage got worse and worse.
Because of that, you think that incident?
It's 100%.
You're just burying it?
I mean, I started smoking crack, right? Like, and I had held on to that for a minute.
That's what broke that?
I started, and then adding crack onto the Scramble, onto the Speedballs, just rapid, rapid decline, so bad. And I didn't care that I was killing myself. I wanted to die. It wasn't happening soon enough. I just didn't have the balls to just flat out do it.
So do you think subconsciously you were trying to kill yourself? You were just running from everything?
100%. And people kept overdosing around me, right? They're going out, and some of them are making it, some of them aren't. And it's not happening to me, to where like I was so sick in the head that I was going and getting the dope that put them out, that maybe killed them. Maybe it's got to be that good. Maybe this is my chance. And it just never fucking happened. Never happened.
You're just like, damn, when's my time? Are you just waiting?
I'm waiting, dude.
Is every time you're getting high, are you almost just kind of wishing that was your last?
Yeah. And so at some point I reached out to my family. They brought me back, right? I was still getting high with my buddy, but he was going back home each time I wasn't. We reconnected. We go back up. I had new connections at this point, right? I'd parted ways, but I was still so fucking wrapped up in it that I couldn't stop. So anyway, there was a car that was rented for us by, a family member. We go up there, we get the drugs, the strongest stuff I'd ever had. I inject, blackout. I'm out. I wake up in BCCC, which is Baltimore City Correctional Center. I wake up in their drunk tank, or their holding tank, which is meant to hold like 5 dudes, but they're always packed like 30 deep.
Oh, for sure.
Going through withdrawal. Everyone in there is going through withdrawal essentially. It takes about 24 hours to see the commissioner, the first one.
Oh my God. So you're in a room with a ton of dudes that are all withdrawing off of.
You all go together, right? So you see the first commissioner. Commissioner's like, no bond, because I had criminal charges and shit. Cool, right? And then I go see the second one for a second chance. No, you're going to sit up there. So I sit up there, and I'm up there for 3 days. I finally almost go through detox. Like 3 a.m, they call my name. They could get me. Somehow my mom had found me. Somehow my mom had found where I was. She got me out, right? Bailed me out. And then I convinced her that I was going to go stay at a recovery house in Baltimore, and she gave me the money for it that I said. And
so you convinced your mom to pay for a recovery center.
Yeah.
But you didn't plan on going to the recovery center?
No, hell, there wasn't one. So I was homeless again. I had called a couple charges back home during this period, and they weren't super huge charges, right? Like nothing really pivotal in my story, but they had put me in a drug program, which was called drug court at the time, for people with drug issues. They were still in their very early phases when I was in there. So there were really no repercussions. I was going in and peeing dirty, and they were like, hey, you should get on methadone. So I did that, but I was still getting high, and then on the methadone, peeing dirty for them on the methadone. They're like, we're going to reset back your timeline, because blah, 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 and this and that. And then I just said, fuck it, and ran. And then all this happened. And then my mom got me right out of jail, but they weren't going to extradite me or anything. They didn't even care. They're like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Let me out. And I'm getting high. And it's just November after Thanksgiving. My mom found me a couple days after Thanksgiving. It's I couldn't imagine what that Thanksgiving dinner was like, dude. Right? But the desperation that I was in to kill myself, right? I didn't care. I had that lifeline. My mom was there, right? She'd proven time and time again, she's going to fucking find me. She's going to go through hell in high water to save me. So she gives me the money. She was like, I'm going to watch you walk in. And this was a random fucking house, right? No sign above it. There was lights on upstairs. I literally walked in someone's front fucking door, shut the door, looked out the window, and waited for her. The people didn't hear me. There was a methadone clinic right next by. So it looked medically, right? The building beside looked medical, but it was a house.
You just strolled in someone's house?
My give a fuck was non-existent.
God.
Did not matter, dude. It didn't matter to me. Like they could have shot me going through the door, and mission accomplished for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, dude. She left, and then I was in like slippers, sweatpants, and a hoodie in early stage December of Maryland, which was like 32 degrees. It hadn't snowed, but it was freezing. They were having code blues out like every night, which is code blue in Baltimore is they're going to wrangle up all the homeless and put them not in jail, but like inside somewhere, like a hospital. Yeah. They'll put you in the lobby of the jail. They don't care if you are using or about, they're just trying to let you not die on the street. I make it through the night, right? I find a late night shop, which is still open selling dope. I go get what I need, end up being affiliated with the guys that I normally went to. So they recognize me. I walk up like, oh shit, we know you, blah, blah, blah. What you need, bro? They're like, hey, they're like, look, we're ready to leave all the drugs. Why don't you stay in this house so you don't freeze to death, right? So they shut the door. I stayed in their little trap house with their sterile trap house. And then went about my fucking day, right? Like, got high all night. I had a bunch of money. Bought crack. And then just kept using for... Actually, dude, this is close to the end, actually. I maybe lasted 3 weeks. But like I had like infections in my arms from IV drug usage. I had infections and blood clots in my legs.
You were injecting in your legs?
Oh, legs.
Are your veins completely blown out at this point?
Like you won't really see any of the deep veins now. I have superficial ones that still show, but I mean the scar here is where I had infection. It just swelled up my whole arm. And then it finally popped, and I remember just taking my hand like that and just pushing down in chunks of just necrosis and just tissue just coming out. And same way with the other arm. And I had seen a medical show about arteries being in the groin, right? Yeah. Like one of the main arteries is there, but there's also a big vein next to it. So like took my chances, figured out where the vein was, and that's where I was getting high. But with that, it gave me blood clots going up my legs. So like my legs were swollen, my feet were swollen, dude. I was barely walking, and I was on the streets.
So your time's coming.
Oh, dude, like it got to the point where I wasn't overdosing when I was getting high. I would do one, black out, and come back. Like I know my heart wasn't stopping or anything because like I could hear stuff still going around me, but I'm out. Right, yeah. Like almost every time, and I would shoot up, smoke crack real quick so I wouldn't black out, right? Or smoke crack.
Oh, so it's counterbalancing itself. God bless, bro. Are you still breathing?
I don't know. So a couple weeks goes by. I have no money. Down on my luck. I ended up somehow making like $500. I think I was watching like Lookout for a group, and I like averted them getting busted, so they hooked me up. And there was me, a group of random strangers in a bandominium. Like people were shitting in the corner. This church had just done like a jacket drive, so I had a jacket on, but it's still like 20 some degrees. We have candles all around, these little candles that the needle exchange would give you so we could get high. And I remember just trying to get high, getting high, being so cold I didn't do anything, and just shivering with a group of people that I had no idea who they were. All of us probably pre-hyperthermic, and just looking around, being like, fuck, like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, this was not the only moment of clarity I had through my whole addiction, but like one of the most vivid ones where like, I knew this is it. I'm going to die. And I thought I was going to die. I thought I was going to freeze to death. The sunlight came up. Obviously I got high. I stopped a random fucking person on the street. I went out, walked around, and like that's not common practice in west side of Baltimore to like give someone your phone. I stopped this lady. I was like, look, I'm not going to steal your phone. And I pulled out like all my drugs. I was like, hold these. I just need to make one phone call. And she looked at me like bewildered. So she grabbed them. She was like, you got 2 minutes. Fucking dialed up my mom's number. She answered the phone. I, broke down. I said, I need some help.
How hard was this conversation?
It was the easiest one I've ever had.
Really?
I was so done and downtrodden. And then I called her, and then I called I tried to turn myself in like a couple times to the police and like, we don't care. Right. I made a few phone calls like that. And the lady's like, yo, stop calling. I was like, I just got to make one more. So I call my caseworker for drug court. Her name's Kelly Stacy. And she knows I love the shit out of her, and she'll probably love this actually. And I said, I need help. I'm going to die. I'm going to die, and I don't want to die anymore. She was like, okay, what's the plan? I said, my mom's coming to get me. She said, okay, once your mom gets you, go turn yourself in to the sheriff's department back home. We'll go from there.
Is this woman standing here listening to all these conversations?
Yeah. She's standing there and like, if
Did she hold your drugs?
She was holding my drugs like in her hand and like looking so shocked that I was doing all this. And so, yeah.
Oh my God. She probably still tells this story.
Dude, I bet you she does. And if she sees this,
You're a saint. You saved his life. Yeah.
Give her the phone back. Thank her for the help. And she was like, son, I hope and pray like that this is your last one. Like, she's like an elderly lady. It's like a Sunday morning. I know she's probably heading to fucking church. Right. Like, so my mom comes and gets me. She was like, I don't care if you have drugs on your fucking body. Get in the fucking car right now. I get in the car. My boy that I was getting high with, because I didn't tell her where I was before I hung up. So she gets in touch with him. She was like, you're fucking coming with me right now. I'll pay you whatever the fuck you need. I'll wait for you to get your drugs. I will pay you to drive up with me and show me where you know he's at, because I don't know Baltimore. You can get your drugs. When you two are back safely in the car, we're fucking getting out of there. So I'm standing.
Your mom's a gangster, bro.
She's dope.
Okay, so that's okay.
So I still had all these drugs, but I was like, fuck, I gotta cop more because I don't know what's gonna happen. So I'm like, I get crack and I'm standing in line at this hole, and I hear my boy go, he said my street name, and I turned and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? He was like, yo, I came with your mom. I was like, I looked at him and said, what? He was like, I came with your mom. She paid me to bring me to you. I was like, yo, you took fucking money from my mom? I was like, what are you doing? He was like, yeah. She said it was cool. She said it's cool if you got drugs too. So he got drugs. We get the drugs. I get in the car. My mom does not berate me. She doesn't scold me. She doesn't judge me. She sees that I'm a fucking mess. She knows that I wronged her with the money. She just said, thank God. Got in the car, booked it home. She was like, look, I'm going to take you to our house first. You're going to take a fucking shower. You're going to change your clothes. Then we'll turn you in.
How dirty are you?
I'm pretty fucking dirty, dude.
When's the last time you bathed?
When I was in jail. So weeks had gone by. And I would occasionally get showers from like people with like actual electricity and water that also did dope. These are like the dinosaurs of dope users where they had been doing it like 20, 30. And I'd be like, here's like one pill. Can I get? They're like, yeah, you got 3 minutes to shower. And like just black would come off of me, dude. And I would do it like once a week. It was fucking gross. Like looking back on it.
Putting the clothes back on once you're clean is just.
No, because this church would do clothing drives, so I would stack. Yeah.
Okay.
So I would have clean clothes, but they'd be like mix match sizes, like a 3X fucking shirt with like whatever sweatpants and flip flops type shit. I looked homeless, right? Like, so we get home, right? Shower, eat, turn myself in, and
What'd you turn yourself in for? Why?
A violation of the drug court, right?
Okay.
And the sheriff was there, and his name he was Sheriff Gamble at the time, and I played sports with his son.
Small town.
And he saw me, and you could see kind of relief on his face, like where like I walked in, I turned myself in. They were like, hey, apparently the commissioner's been spoken to, right, by the drug court. They're going to release you, but you're going to release to your parents, and you cannot fucking go anywhere. If you leave, you're going to have an active warrant. Cool. I'm done at this point. Like I'm done.
So it's checked. Like it's set into you. You're this is it.
Yeah. I was done. And I called drug court, and I called my probation officer, and none of them were like, nobody berated me. Nobody was like, you piece of shit, or we finally caught you. They're like, okay, cool. Like, here's the next move. They're like, look, we don't know if we can get you into rehab right now. And I remember begging on the phone.
You knew you weren't going to make it.
Please, God, get me into rehab. I'm going to get high when I get off the phone. I'm going to get high the next day, the day after that, until I die. They're like, and my like case worker, she was like, I'm going to call you right back. Hung up the phone. I went home, got high, and I'm sitting in my house. My phone rings. Answer it. She was like, in 48 hours, you are going to show up to the AF Whitsitt Center, which was the rehab I went to, by 8 a.m., or the police are going to pick you up at 8:01. And either way, for me, that was fine. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, I'll be there. So, my buddy, apparently I've been staying with my family at the time because he needed a place. So like he was already there too, right? The one that helped my mom find me. He calls, gets in the next day, the day after me. So like I have to go in 2 days. He has to go in 3. So obviously we're getting high, big high, doing dumb shit. Parents are feeding me. I can see the weight kind of off of them, but also the tension's still there. And I went to, the morning of rehab, I started having like second guessing it.
Oh, for sure.
Because I was going to have to leave a life that I knew so well. And
It's consumed you for the last 5-6 years or longer.
Yeah. And, I got high. I had my dad stop at Walmart. Went to their bathroom. I had like 3 pills left, loaded all 3. Got high. He dropped me off at rehab, and that's where that life died.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
What's rehab like? So now that you've gone so far, so long, I should say, you've gone so long and so hard with these pills. What's the detox? I want people to understand, because I know a good dude around here, and he was talking to me about when he detoxed, he had his brother handcuff him to a pipe in the basement, and he did not uncuff him for like a week.
Yeah.
And he said it was the worst thing he's ever experienced in his life.
I would sell your soul, right, to get high during that detox. Now, the first 2 for me were like that, right? Like the first 2 times I went to rehab, like the worst, right? When I had to come off methadone, the worst. When I had to come off like heroin, the worst. Fentanyl, the worst.
Do you describe it as like the worst flu you've ever had in your life times 10?
Hurt down to your bones, your molecules hurt. My teeth hurt, my joints, everything hurts. But at the same time, you can't sit still because you have restless leg or whatever, and your anxiety is so fucking high because you're not like numbing yourself and pushing all that down.
Mm-hmm.
And then your stomach is fucked up, and you're cold sweats. So you're gonna get hot, and then you're cold, and you're hot, and you're cold, and you're not sleeping. You're tossing and turning. But this last time when I went to rehab, I don't know if it was a mental thing where like it clicked where I was like, I'm all the way fucking out. Detox was nothing. Like it was something, right? It sucked. But
you're ready for it.
I was so ready to be done. And they offered me, they're like, hey, we'll medically, step you down, detox, blah, blah. I was like, no. And I remember the nurse being like, why? I was like, because I want this to hurt as much as possible. So if I ever think about going back to this again, I won't do it. Because every time I'd done the medical thing.
Yeah.
The first 2 days were shit. All the symptoms, right? All of it. It all hurt. Day 3, all hurt. And there was this really cool security guard. They used to make you stay in your room, but I couldn't. I was losing it, scratching at the walls type of shit.
Mm-hmm.
To where like I'd walk out and he was like, you can walk the hall with me for a little bit until you just want to go sit down. So we did that. But I woke up day 4. I wouldn't say I was back to normal, right? Like physically, but because I still like post-acute withdrawal symptoms happened for 18 months. But I was.
You have withdrawal symptoms for 18 months?
Post-acute withdrawal. So pause. So it's not so much the stomach and the sleepless nights. Yeah, a little bit. It's not so much the stomach or the vomiting, but it's like restless leg, high anxiety, sleep problems.
Urges and shit.
Urges, hot, cold sweats.
Damn.
Bro, it's not. Going to rehab is the first step, right? And that's the very, very first step. So day 4, I had clarity. Right, mental clarity at this point. And my boy checked himself in, right? Like he was doing the medical detox thing. No like harm, no foul. I love that for him. yeah, and then I remember looking down the hall. We were going to go to Chow, right? Men were on one side, women were on the other. We went to Chow, and I looked over and it said gym, right? I remember asking tech, I'm like, hey, is this open? And they're like, they looked at the gym, like, yeah, but nobody ever wants to use it. I said, when can I? They were like, are you still going through withdrawal? And I'm still in that mindset, right? Like, I still have the street life in me a little bit. No, I'm good. They're like, you can go after we eat. So I go in after we eat, right? And
Is this the first time you've worked out?
This is the first time I worked out in years. Now, like, I was a personal trainer before my addiction got bad, right? Like, I was still using pills, but also, like, after I started working out again and like all the injuries, I went to be a personal trainer and was, teaching group fitness and shit. So like I knew what I was doing when I went back in. So day 1, I'm in there by myself. Day 2, I'm in there by myself. Day 3, my boy joins me. All right. Day 4, I got 2 other guys in there. Day 5, there's a gang of us in there working out. Now we're getting smoked, right? Like I remember being on the assault bike and trying to like do sprints and just throwing up. Right, like my body's not used to it. We're working out. I gained like 40 pounds in treatment, right? Just from eating and sleeping and finally like working out. Like I wasn't.
Well, yeah, you went from being emaciated in a trap house to yeah.
So I got out at like 175 pounds, which was still very light for me. And I remember before I got out, like drug court loved that I was there. They're like, oh hell, because I don't think they expected me to like last. Right. So I'm going to get out. They're like, hey, do you want to go to a recovery house? And now when I went the original time, there's only one. Now at this point, there's a couple in my hometown because people realize, oh shit, we have an opioid problem. These people need help. They need community, right? They need everything. And I lived there, right? Like I lived 15 minutes away from like the town everything's in. I was like, yeah, I'll go. They're like, oh, I remember my parents being like, you don't want to come home? I'm like, nope, I don't. And it's not because of them. I just knew that I couldn't keep my shit together. Yeah. So I went to a recovery house. Like I got out. The recovery house told me to show up at a certain time. I went and showed up at a certain time. And then I was at one for like a couple weeks, but I didn't have a car. And this one was on the outskirts of town. And to walk to a meeting was like 3 miles. Okay. Right. But I have mandatory that I go to X amount of meetings a week. So I moved to one that's in the heart of town, right? And it's called the Gratitude House. And it was run by a guy named Mike R. Now, Gratitude House, if I didn't go to Gratitude House, right? Like, and I'm giving them a lot of credit, but they need the credit where credit's due. Okay. I don't know what it's like now, right? Like, I know it's still kind of the same, but like, this is like perfect storm type shit when I was there, right? Like, the house manager was dope, right? The guys that had clean time lived in another house across the street to where like you had to have like a year to be in there. And they got more, but they would come over, mentor us, right? Like you had a roommate, right? It's just a simple house turned into 12 dudes living in there, real world type style shit, minus drugs and alcohol, still the same drama. So I go there and they made me go to meetings. They made me get a sponsor. They didn't make me work steps, but they would ask each, hey, how you doing on your steps? Like, what step are you on? I had to do 90 meetings in 90 days, right? So a meeting every day for 90 days. I ended up doing that for 180 days. Yeah. Shit. Yeah.
Was it hard? Because I hear a lot of dudes relapse in houses, in the recovery homes after going through the rehabs. Yeah. Did you ever run into any of those problems, or was it just?
Yeah. Not me personally, but it happens, right? Like,
because there's a lot of use in rehabs. There's a lot of people that are sneaking all kinds of shit in. I mean, so you're not clear just because you're in a rehab or in a house now. I mean,
no, hell no.
The drugs are still there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So like by the time I got there, I had like 60 days clean time. Right?
So you're feeling good, and
I also had to like detox myself off of sleep meds that were prescribed to me.
Okay.
And then when I went to see, like, drug court gave me so many avenues. They put me in therapy and all this extra stuff. And when I went to see like an actual therapist, like I took blood clot medicine that cleared swellings down, right? Like physically I'm healthy. All my blood work came back like negative for everything, right? Like I dodged so many fucking bullets in this active addiction. Blood work's clear. Blood clots are gone. My heart looks fine. Lungs sound like shit because I'm a smoker.
Yeah.
At the time. And I have a laundry list of meds that my psych doctor there gave me, like for like fucking multiple personality disorder, bipolar disorder, all this extra stuff. And then when she ran a psych test on me, she was like, we're getting rid of all of this.
Yeah.
She was like, you have anxiety? Yeah. I was like, yeah. She was like, cool, I'm gonna introduce you to meditation. Right. Like, which she also helped me process a lot of shit too. Like she kept me, I wouldn't say from killing myself, but she kept me through the dark times. Right. So I'm at Gratitude House and I'm super involved in 12-step recovery. Right. So like, you know, where I was from, AA, you only went for the alcoholics. NA, went for the drug addicts. Now where I'm at, it's a lot looser, right? People can come and go into whichever one that you want.
Yeah.
I start working on the step work. I get my first sponsor. He doesn't really work out. Not really vibing with him. I get my second one, and this dude is lit. Like he was like my dad, right? Because I was still holding so many grudges against my dad, right? Like still holding a lot of shit.
Real quick, during this whole period of you being in Baltimore, your mom searching for you, finding you, you're in and out of hospitals, was your dad involved in any of this, or he writes you off, or was he there with your mom?
Dude. He wasn't there when they picked me up because he's afraid of bridges. He can't drive over a bridge. Like he has like full blown panic attacks. And to get to Baltimore from where I was at, Maryland, you have to drive over the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, which is sketchy as fuck. But like the last time when they found me and picked me up, he met us at a park and ride and like essentially escorted us back down.
Okay.
So he didn't write me off. He just didn't know. He didn't know what to do. Right. Like, you know, which is understandable. Yeah. Right. Like coming from that, I know like if I didn't have the knowledge I know now, I wouldn't know what to do either. So I meet my sponsor, going to meetings. I start volunteering my time at the rehab that I went to. I start taking meetings in to their like NA meetings and like telling people like, hey, like, but like my scars were still fresh. They're nice and faded now. Like you could see that I lived a hard life at that moment. I'm telling you, hey, like this has helped me, right? Doing all the right things. I meet one of my best friends now, and his name's Brent. I asked him if I could say his name on here, and he was like, "Fuck yeah, I need you to tell the story." So I go to another rehab to go speak as like a speaker.
Okay.
And he comes up to me at the end. He was like, "I don't know what the fuck you're doing, but I want it, and I want to do it." And I was like, "Look, I wrote down the address, and I wrote down my phone number. When you get out of rehab, I'll meet you here." And it was at the recovery house I was at. So he ends up going there, right? Like, dude, the house was, when I say like a perfect storm, like everybody was hard charging on like staying clean and so like everyone.
Oh, and even the people that are there.
Hell yeah. Even everyone in the house. Mine's like one guy was struggling. Yeah. But like we all rallied for him, dude. Like we looked at it as family. Like these are my brothers, right? Like I'm gonna rally the fuck for you, and I'm gonna also call you the fuck out when you're acting out.
But I feel that's probably the only way at this point.
Yeah, dude. I mean, when I say like radical accountability through there, like, you know, someone would be like, "Oh, I went to this meeting," and we all would go together as a house. When we'd be like, "No, you didn't fucking go to that meeting. Like, where were you at, bro?"
Yeah.
Like,
so now you got this dude, and you got your boy there already.
Okay, so when we get out of treatment, my boy goes. So we had an argument about this. I'm like, I'm going back home. He's like, I can't go home. I'm gonna go to a house in like Glen Burnie, Annapolis area, which was too close for comfort for me to Baltimore. Okay. Because like that's a stone's throw. That's a 15-minute drive.
Yeah.
But like him and I are chatting. Like I'd go up and see him. We'd go get a lift. He'd come down and see me. And like we're both putting on sides. Like you can tell we're living right. And then
he's doing good.
Yeah, he's doing good.
Okay.
We all went to the NA convention together in like Ocean City. Like everybody partied the recovery way. So like 8 Red Bulls and staying up all night type of shit. Going to like fireside meetings at like 2 a.m, like fire on the beach.
Yeah.
Which is it's a really great community. Like when you work it, when you find the right people, just like any other community, right? You can find the wrong fucking people.
For sure.
Dude, so the house is literally one of my favorite memories since I've started my new life. Like Brent and I are best friends. We're lifting together. There's a couple other guys in there that were super, but to this day he's still like one of my best friends.
Okay.
Dude, we're all holding each other accountable. Everybody's going well. I haven't seen my boy in a while. You know, we're still texting. Oh, hey, you coming down this weekend to blah, blah, blah. No, I can't. I got to work. I see him at the convention. He looks like he lost a little bit of weight, but I also knew that he's like has a full-time job now and like he met a girl type of shit. a couple weeks after the convention go by, I had just picked up my 6-month key tag from NA. And I wasn't like expecting him to be down there, nor did I ask, right? But I was like, I sent him a picture, yo, I got my tag. He was like, oh, that's dope, bro. And then I didn't hear from him again for like a week. And normally we're like every day, just something small. Like, hey, bro, love you. You know, how's it going? Like one of those people that I talk to every day, because he was in my previous life every day, that bond, me and him never stopped.
You're trauma bonded.
Yeah, fuck yeah, we are. Fuck yeah. Because his brother ended up dying of an overdose.
Oh, okay.
Like, and that's how him and I became like tight.
Okay.
Right? Like the way we mourned him was like going and getting high. Right? So we're 100% trauma bonded. We've seen the same shit. You know, his story's a little bit different than mine.
So now he's going ghost.
So now he's ghosting, right?
He's trying to get signs.
He's showing the signs now. He calls me. I fucked up.
Oh,
and like,
how's that
you know,
feel?
I had 6 months, but like I'd been in the program short enough, but long enough to know this is common, right? Like people are going to come and go, ebb and flow. And I'm like rallying for him. I was still taking the meeting into the same rehab we went to.
Yeah.
And I'm tight with all the staff now, right? Like at one point I was wanted to work there. So I called the director of admissions directly. Hey, because they were also in recovery. So like I'm rubbing shoulders with people like high up in the recovery world, going to conventions. We're traveling to different cities at this point in Maryland, up the East Coast to like Philly, New York, like going and like checking all this shit out. Like I'm living the recovery dream right now.
All right.
Like,
This is dope.
working a full-time job, lifting, working the recovery house, you know, doing all the NA stuff. I called them directly. Hey, Kenny has relapsed. I don't know how long. I know what on, right? Like I know he's doing heroin again, fentanyl. Can you get him in? And they were like, yeah, give me 24 hours. Have him show up by, this was like a Friday night before I was going to go take a meeting in there. She was like, have him show up Sunday morning, 8 a.m. per the usual. Okay. Hang up, call him back. He's like, okay, bro, I'll be there. A week goes by. I call her Monday morning. Hey, I know you can't say anything because of HIPAA. She was like, it doesn't matter about HIPAA. He didn't show up. I was like, fuck. So I'm texting him like, hey, I know you didn't go. I can call another rehab. He's like, okay, call him and we'll go. So like we did the song and dance for a week and he kept not showing up. And I was like, I had no more favors to pull.
Mm-hmm.
So we were chatting one day. We're on the phone and he's like, I really need that. I really da-da-da-da-da. He was like, but I don't want to stop. And I have very, very, very few regrets from my life. All of it I've come to terms with. I accepted my actions. I accepted the impact I put on people, on myself, on my others, my family, strangers I didn't know. I only have two regrets from all of this life, crime, fucking my own life up, everybody else's. This is one of them, right? So I'm on the phone with him. I was like, I won't help you and I can't help you until you're ready to get the help. Don't call me back. Hung up. And a week goes by and I'm going to get this tattoo I have on my chest. And I get done the tattoo, probably the fucking most painful one I've ever gotten. I'll never get my chest done ever again. So I'm like riding high, like getting done. This chest piece is so sick, blah, blah, blah. And my phone goes off. And I look at it and it's our homegirl that we're all tight with, right? Like the girl, she was in rehab with us. Her sister was in rehab. Like I still stayed in contact with the people that stayed sober at this point. I see it ringing, calling. I'm like, fuck, I don't answer. Bing, bing, bing. My phone is blowing up. Call me now. And then I have like multiple people texting and call me right now. Call me right now. You need to call me before anyone else calls you. Call me right now. So I call her. I'm like, what is up? And she was like, he overdosed and died. He's dead.
Ugh.
I didn't cry like in the moment. I was more of just in shock. So I hung up on her and called the next person that called me. Same, called them. I mean, like 5 phone calls before I was like, oh my God, I just lost my best friend, right? Like,
damn.
And I wasn't nice to him.
Yeah.
For the last part. Like I wasn't nice, right? And there's a saying that my sponsor used to say, It's honesty without empathy is brutality. And I wasn't empathetic to someone that I loved and had struggled with me and who had just made a simple mistake, right? Like, I could have been like, hey, bro, I could have worded it 100 different ways. I should have said I love you when I hung up the phone. And that way I could have had that peace, right? Like, because I buried people all throughout this time, all throughout this addiction. I buried people. I know people have died, right? Like, I know people are going to die. I just didn't say I love you. And that still cuts me, right? Like 7 years and some change later.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people were worried about me. That was like the beautiful part of all. So many people like rallied around me, showed up to the recovery house I was at, pulled me by like my fucking my waistband to meetings, made sure that I was okay even when I wasn't okay, right? Like that was the beauty of the program and the group that I had at the time. And I stayed sober through that. I stayed clean through that.
I feel that would have been the moment that set you back. Was it hard to stay sober? How bad were you like yearning for it to get high and to get rid of the pain?
I haven't had a single thought to do that since I stopped. Nothing has been bad enough to me because I know I'm going to die, right? Like I've been out of it so long now, I'm going to die. But even early on then, I knew I would die because I'm going to fucking full send, all gas, no brakes, right? But just having the whole house pulled around me, right? Yeah. Like the people that I called family in that house pulled around. My parents, I think my mom mourned harder than I did because she had watched me. She watched me bury his brother. Now I had to go to his funeral, and I showed up, right? Like I showed up for his mom. His brother, his oldest brother, was still in his active addiction. I don't know how he's doing now. I had to cut ties after that.
All three sons?
And then I know his mom died a couple years later from a car accident. So I don't know if his dad's still alive anymore. The whole family is wiped out like by drugs. And like all amazing, like what people don't understand is these were normal guys. Amazing athletes, amazing human beings to their core, even in like their grittiest, grimiest moments. Sure, they did bad shit, but out of necessity. That's what people need to understand. It's not that I didn't care about the people around me, or it's not that I didn't understand the consequences or understand the evil and the menace of society that I was. I had a necessity that needed to be filled, and it was going to be me or you, and by me, I mean my addiction. Yeah. Because that shit is the strongest thing that I've ever come in contact with in my entire life. Like, it will make you flip your moral compass to where it's either south to north or non-existent. And mine was non-existent for a while. That I didn't know any other way. I knew what I was doing was bad. And this is not me trying to like circumvent the bad choices that I made or trying to escape blame. No, I did all of that.
Yeah.
But it was a necessity because my chemical makeup was so altered from these drugs that I had to do it. I had to, like, if your kids or your family or whoever, if they're in their active addiction, you're listening to this and you're like, fuck, they just stole all the money in my purse. It's not because they hate you. It's not because you did something wrong. It's not because they don't love you. It's not any reason to blame yourself or anything else. It is because their chemical makeup is so altered that they need to stoop to this to just feel at their lowest. They're not getting their highest anymore. I just need it to make it through the next minute. Right? Like,
yeah, that is so sad. As a guy that's been in the trenches as an addict for years, and you've watched your mom never give up on you, your dad's been there.
Yeah. Oh, dude, and my sister, she's going to be pissed about it.
Okay, sister too.
She was the tough love one. Like, my parents were like, I'm not going to say that they were enabling me, but they were. Yeah. My sister would be like, you need to get the fuck together type shit. And my sister, if you see me in this man form, think of think of me with long hair, still broad, like her and I same height, like
Just your northeastern.
bro. And she's like, you need to get your fucking shit together, like
Okay.
a burly, beautiful girl, right?
Okay.
Like, and I love her so much for.
All right.
'cause those words always stuck with me. Like, you need to get your shit. And I would say that to myself. You get high, like, God, you need to get your shit together.
Yeah. So I guess my question is there ever a time where you have to quit on your kid, or is it one of because I love the point that you said it's a chemical imbalance in these people. I feel a lot of mental issues, a lot of things that go on. It's a chemical that switches in people, and then simple medications throw people off, and then all of a sudden they're crazy now, right?
Yeah.
As a parent, is there ever a point, and you've gone through the system, you're now, and I want to get to this chapter where you're helping now.
Yeah.
I don't know how to word it but is there a point as a parent, as a friend, as somebody that has a loved one that is an addict, is there ever a point that do you draw a line where you're like, hey, I can't help you anymore?
So the advice that I give parents now, because I've had parents from what I do for work call me, be like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
What I tell them, don't give them money. Don't help them out. Don't give them a place to stay. Make it as hard as them as you possibly can. But you never give up on them. You just need to stop enabling them, right?
So you love them.
You love them from a
make them
distance.
suffer as much as possible with loving them.
You love them from a fucking distance.
And you want them to wait. You want them to feel what you felt in that house, that aha moment.
Yeah, hell yeah. Because my parents took me to rehab twice. They wanted me to get clean. They wanted all this shit for me, but it did not work because I did not want it.
Your mom's helping you. She's giving you cash, letting you walk.
Yeah. I mean, sure, she was giving me money when she could, but like, that's not even the point. The point is, if I don't want it, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the advice I give them. You have to
want it.
You got to cut them off. If they call, you say, I love you. Let me know when you're ready. And then, but you're not giving them money. You're not giving them a place to stay, but you're not giving up on them either. You love them from a distance. And also you need to understand that this may not come out in a positive manner because they need to want this. And I'm not going to be the type of person to say someone's too gone. Like from what I do for work now, I've watched people where I'm like, they're not going to fucking make it, to all of a sudden walking through the door of where I work with a treatment center. And I'm like, fuck yeah. It happens all the time. I just had someone walk in where we struggled with them for months upon months where we were like, you can't come back. Right. Cause they were unsheltered and going through it. And, you know, even the place I work for, like we're all very bleeding hearts for that community. Mm-hmm. But like we had to set a boundary, but you can't come back, to where they walked through the door and everybody, the whole staff was like, oh shit. Like, fuck yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Because I can't make you get, sure, I can make you, right? I can kidnap you or send you to fucking Passages Malibu and keep it comfortable for you. The treatment center I went to was an mental asylum that had double locking doors, shitty cots, very little pillows, no TV, no sugar, no caffeine type shit. Like,
damn.
I was in a state funded
prison,
essentially. Yeah. That had like trauma groups and made me read books and all this extra shit. But it was so uncomfortable, but it was so what I needed. And like parents, like you can send your kids to the poshest fucking rehabs. Nah, fuck that. Make it hard on them, right? Like, don't give up on them.
Do you think those plush ones and the Malibu suites and all that shit, do you think that's a lot of gimmick, or locking some kid in a basement till he detoxes?
Dude,
I mean, or does it not? If they just don't want it, it doesn't matter.
If they don't want it, it doesn't fucking matter.
Okay.
Like, you could have locked me in a basement. I could have detoxed and then been like, hey, I'm good to go. But
so you're saying there's really no difference between this Malibu plush rehab versus some state-funded old mental institution. It all comes down to the mindset of the person.
Mindset is going to make it, right?
Okay.
But like, as far as amenities, yeah, like I would have loved to have gotten like acupuncture and shit like that when I was in treatment. But
if you're still got the itch and you're going to go chase it, what
exactly, dude?
Or does that stuff really help?
I mean, the most beneficial part, right? Like, treatment for me, like I wanted to be done.
Yeah.
But I also was holding a lot of trauma, a lot of CPTSD, a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, to where like they introduced me to like group therapy, right? Like different groups. Like I remember the first time I cried after like not crying for years. I was in a trauma group. And
how did that feel?
I slept the best I've ever slept my entire life. And it was so much weight. Like, but I hadn't cried in years. Like cried, genuinely cried, like not manipulating cry, like cried. And I told one of my thousands of stories that I have. And I remember the therapist just coming up to me and just giving me a fucking hug and being like, hey, I've been sober now 15 years. And the only thing different about that story that you just told is that it was you and not me. Right?
Yeah.
Because there's always someone that can relate to what you say.
For sure.
Right? There's always somebody like, you don't need to be, right? Like for you don't need to understand the depths of my addiction, but you understand losing friends.
Oh.
Right? Like you understand desperation. You understand sadness. You understand joy. Like we all understand human emotions. Where we get so mixed up and stigmatized is you, right, were military veteran. I shot heroin, right? That doesn't fucking matter. You know sadness. I know sadness. I know sadness. Like people get so caught up in the stigma and the labels that we all give each other that we forget, bro, I'm just fucking human trying to make it to tomorrow. So are you. So is anyone watching or listening to this right now.
I want to touch on something real quick. I've touched on it a couple times on this show, but personally, it was a big chapter for me after losing my brother.
Yeah.
Bottled.
Yeah.
And it was like that first cry.
Yeah.
And that's why I asked, how did it feel? Because we live in this image nowadays of men, and we have to be this just tough. You're either alpha or you're not, right? And we got to be these raw and fucking I'm the man of my shit. But once I truly learned how to cry, and it's hard to say because you get so much flack, and I know the TikTok fucking dudes are gonna be like, this guy's whatever.
Who gives a fuck, bro?
Facts.
Like, who cares?
When you said that, and that's the only way I'm ever able to describe it is the weight.
Yeah.
And I get it a lot, and that's why I kind of asked you before we started if you're in the spiritual, because like when I pray, that's what I get. When I'm on my knees, putting it all out there, that's what comes out of me. Is that, and it changes your life as a man. It's even kind of hard to talk about because once you get into, like, I went so long without crying.
Once you break that seal, bro, I cry over fucking. I see you right now. You're about to go like, but that's the problem with like this fucking red pill, blue pill shit that we all have to deal with. Like my buddy and I, that's the whole reason why we started our podcast. We were fucking tired. I'm not picking a fucking side. I'm going to be myself. Right. Like, but like hyper like masculinity, like, you know, fuck women, you know, comparing them to like cars and shit and, you know, not crying. Real men don't cry. No, real men don't cry and not speaking on my emotions are one of the reasons why I stayed in my fucking addiction. Right. Like I couldn't come out and tell people that I was raped as a grown ass man because of the guilt and the fucking shame. I couldn't tell anyone. I didn't tell anyone for a long time. My family, my parents don't even know. Right. My partner knows, she knows it all. Cause I was like, this is what I'm going to talk about. She read the room before I could even like say anything a while back. Yeah. And she was like, I think it's brave that you're going to speak on that. Cause no man wants to walk up and say, this happened to me. Nope. But if I fucking say it, someone else, one person will finally say, hey, this happened to me too. Or they'll see that it's not feminine to cry. Sure. It is feminine to cry, right? But you can't be hyper masculine and have no femininity in your life.
That's not a man.
No, because the caregiver is the feminine side, right? The provider is the masculine side. You need to have it balanced
100%.
Masculine and feminine. Now, again, right, we're human, right? It's gonna be that seesaw effect to where like one day I'm gonna be like in my fucking hyper masculine walking around the house like motherfucker. Yeah. Right. And then next day I could be watching Disney with my fucking son and sobbing my eyes out. Yeah. Right. Like men just need to cry. Men need to say, hey, I'm not okay. Right. Like, I mean, the veteran community's famous for that, right? Like what, 21 a day, something like that?
They say 22 a day. It's like,
bro,
but these guys are bottling shit. Yeah. And it's like you talk to them and it almost sounds like it was last year. Yeah. And then you're like, when this happened, we're like, oh, 2007. I'm like, 2007.
That's a long time.
Because they've been bottling it because it's unbecoming of men. It's not masculine to talk about and cry about these things. But why are you drinking every night? Exactly. Why are you slamming heroin? Why are you watching porn to get out of your whole
numbing yourself so hard, dude? Like,
but if you talk about it and then you go at the end, because every time when I'm done, I go, oh,
yeah.
Oh, take it.
I feel great. Like, granted, 2 people knew what happened to me before I came on this podcast, right? Now, this might be very extreme, but I've never been fucking modest in my life apparently about what the fuck I do. Clearly my addiction shows, like the way I played sports, the way I parent is the same way. Like I'm fucking all in. Telling, I don't know how many people are gonna listen to this. Like, cool. That like as a grown man, I was raped. After I said that, like after I got that all.
Is this your first time telling this?
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
So
My
I love that, dude. But after
this is bro for being vulnerable. I don't mean to interrupt you, but like I had no idea. I thought it was just part of your journey. I didn't. That was
no, dude. This is the first time I've like been open about it. But
damn, bro. I appreciate that.
Let me flip that coin too, right? Like I want you to be vulnerable. I want you to say your emotions, but it also took me years of therapy
for sure
before I could tell anyone. My therapist was the first one to know, right? Like after my therapist was my sponsor, right? Because at step 4, you do, you know, an honest moral inventory of yourself, of like what the fuck you did, everything that happened, blah, blah, blah. Step 5 is telling God and telling, you know, someone that you trust, aka your sponsor, right? So I remember telling him and sobbing, and the grown man that he is, and the nurturer that he was at the same time. This guy is a big dude covered in tattoo. I'm not gonna tell too much about his description. Big dude covered in tattoos, right? Like biker, held me while I sobbed. Men need that. 100%. I need someone to tell me, hey, it's not gonna be okay, but I'm here with you right now while it's not, right? Like I don't need someone to be like, hey buddy, it's fine. Just fucking hear me and let me cry or let me feel my emotions and then be willing to stick with me while I figure it out.
One of the worst things that I see parents do, especially men, for their sons. Yeah. And I was guilty for this for a very short time. My wife snatched it out of me and then I processed it. Where I see a huge problem where men, fathers, are making huge mistakes. And I've even seen it with guys and their daughters. Yeah. We don't cry.
No, fuck that.
We don't cry. This is one of the worst things you can ever tell your child, because now you're raising this son that doesn't know how to regulate his emotions. Now they're bottling it from an early stage, and before you know it, you got a fucking serial killer on your hands.
Hell yeah, dude.
Because this kid has no idea how to process anything. So, you know, because we're raised in this social media world, we got the Andrew Tates and all these other douchebags that are out here. I mean, I guess whatever your take is on him, but there's guys like that are like, oh, we gotta have a Bugatti and bang bitches and blah blah. And I'm sitting here like, bro, like, that's the farthest thing from happiness and peace that you'll ever have. And then you're sitting here trying to raise a child and like, oh, I'm a dad, I'm a tough dude. I've cried with her.
Yeah, as you should, dude.
She lost a stupid ass lizard.
Yeah,
bro. You want to talk about some girl dad shit?
Yeah.
I bawled my eyes out with her. I don't even give a fuck who says anything. I bawled my eyes out. I lost my service dog. Rough. I still can't even talk about it.
I can't imagine. I'm sorry, bro.
Lose my service dog. Yeah. Her stupid ass lizards I couldn't stand these things. Yeah. She learned how to breed them. Then we had babies. We had cages. It was
what kind of lizard was it?
They were bearded dragons. It was a shit show. It was a shit show. No.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I had cages out back. They're running everywhere. Anyways. Finally passed, but it was her thing, right?
Yeah, dude.
She loved it. So I'm in her room tonight, and they had to put it down. She's like, I don't know why. Dude, I lose it. I'm like, it doesn't matter what it is, but the fact that I was able to sit there and like process with her and like, it's okay. Like, dude, it sucks. I lost my dog. I think it was like a year prior.
Dude,
I'm bawling like it was the same day. But you got to show your kids to be able to process the emotions, because then they grow up to be these dudes that are like, oh, that guy's fucking weird.
Yeah,
like,
bro. I mean, how many times you see your dad cry? I can count on one fucking hand how many times I saw my dad cry. Right? But that's their fucking generation. Like, and that's why, like, every time I go to tell my story, like, I'm not going to villainize my family or my parents, right? Because they used the tools that they had. In my parenting age and generation, I can literally Google whatever the fuck is going on and have an answer instantly. I can go to therapy and do it. I can blah, blah, blah. To where, like, I don't fault my dad. He raised me the way he was raised, which was fucking rough. Right. But he raised me not as rough as he was raised, because his horror stories are horrible.
Oh, I bet.
Right. And I fucking feel for him.
And being a Vietnam Marine. I mean,
that and the way his dad was Korea, like super wild dude. Dude, that's a whole nother can of worms. But like now he's in therapy and shit, which I fucking love, dude.
Really?
Dude, he's in therapy. Right. But I saw him cry a handful of times, right? I saw him cry when his mom died. I've never seen a man so stone-faced when his dad died. Like, just cold. And, like, you could tell that was a relief for him, for that man to die.
That's
like
sad.
And then he cried one time when I went to jail, right? I haven't seen him cry since, right? Like, he didn't cry when he met my son. He might have, but like not openly in front of me. Like, but dude, I cry in front of my fucking son all the time. And that's my son, right? Like, I'm not trying to come off as hyper masculine. The way I'm going to show him how to be a good man is I'm going to be about my fucking word. When I tell somebody 100%. I'm going to be there at 3:30, I'm going to be there at 3:30. If I'm going to help you out and I say I'm going to help you. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to show him how to love his mother. Right? Like, you know, I'm going to love her as hard as I possibly can. Is that perfect every time? No. I'm going to show him how to say sorry. Right? Like, now he's in a phase where like he'll, you know, he's a boy, so he gets mad and he'll throw shit, hit me with something, and I'll get down to his level, not like an intimidation thing. I'm like, you need to go sit down in your chair. Right? He has a little chair in his room. Go sit down in your chair and calm your body. You need to breathe. When you have a calm body, you and I will talk. Most of the time it works. I'll give him like, most of the time he sits there and like he kind of separates himself from it. He'll chill out and I'll come down. I'm like, how are you feeling? He'll go like, I'm so sad. And I'm like, yeah, come here, give me a hug. Right? Like, because I know all anger is just a secondary emotion to another emotion. Right? Like, but like loving his mother, teaching him to say sorry, showing my emotions. And at some point I'm going to have to be honest with him about my past. Right? Like, I'm not going to do that until he's like 18 or whatever, but
you'll know when the time's right.
Yeah, at some point I'm going to have to, hey dude, like, you may think your dad's a square, like, you know, but crying to Disney movies, but like there was one point when I carried a handgun and sold drugs, right? Like, but dude, that's how we changed this whole generation.
It is.
Like,
they're being real.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Everybody has to put on a facade and be something that they're not. It's like, bro, if you just focus on being the best version of yourself,
dude, best version in the moment, right? Because moments fleet, right? Like
100%.
I could be a phenomenal dad, and then 5 minutes from now I could be fucking overstimulated and raise my voice, and then I'm gonna fucking feel really bad about it. And then when I'm calm, I'm gonna go back, hey bud, you know, daddy has big emotions too, and he's still working on how to like regulate them. You know, I apologize. Right?
But that's where it comes to checking yourself and being able to. And it can't be a regular thing, and you can't just my bed every time. But it's you got to be able to check yourself though, and humble yourself. Yeah. And then once you start doing it, it's like, fuck, this can't be a regular thing. No, like then you really have to start being aware of like, hey, do I need to be tripping on this right now? Like,
I think like the more time I have as a father, the better I become at being one.
Oh,
right.
Sure.
Like, I remember when he was born and just being so overstimulated all the time and like not knowing what to do. Like prime, you know. From my like primal side, I knew what to do. I knew how to save him and take care of him. But like when like he started showing big emotions, and then words started coming in and being like, "What the fuck do I do?"
Yeah.
And then like trying to read books and reading blogs and watching videos and like kind of figuring out, be like, oh, like if he's so emotionally dysregulated right now, let me look at my part, because I'm coming in with a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear. Let me pump the brakes, take a breath, come in. Hey, dude, I know you're sad, I know you're angry, I know, but like, you can't throw things. I just need you to sit down, like take a few breaths, like just calm. Right? And it works most of the time. I mean, he's a toddler, dude. So like those tantrums be tantruming. Like, he's a good kid. I love him to death, dude.
Yeah, it only gets better. So can you talk about what you're doing now?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay, so we've gone through. That was one of the wildest stories I've heard in a long time, and I've heard some shit. You've gone through recovery, you lost your best friend, gone through hell and back on the streets.
Yeah.
Change your life around. How do you end up in Salt Lake City working now for an organization, a 501c3 that's doing exactly you're providing us resource to the guys that you used to be running with in the streets. So how did this all come full circle?
So I celebrated 2 years of sobriety, and I hit a wall. Right. Like, I wasn't where I wanted to be. Things just weren't working out in my life. I didn't want to get high, but I was feeling just as bad as I had been. Like, I had a buddy that lived in Salt Lake at the time. He's also sober. He was like, come see me. Right. You haven't been out to Utah before. I couldn't even point out Utah on a map. I was like, yeah, fuck it. All right. I flew out. I only scheduled a trip for 3 days. Right now, in those 3 days, right, I was doing online coaching. I was really big in the personal training, you know, spectrum and online field at that point. It's where I was meeting a bunch of other people to network. So this was a networking trip, but also like a vacation for me. So we all go to this dinner, this really nice restaurant. And this will build into the story, I promise. I walk in, right, sit down. I'm talking to people. One of the guys, his wife is the manager. And I noticed this Filipino girl, like, peeking around corners and shit at me. and I'd look, right, because I'm clocking it, because my situational awareness from living on the street is wild.
Oh,
Right, like it was bad to the point where I first got like sober. I would sit with my back to walls, and I need egress.
Streets, military, prison life will change you.
I need to know how many like points of egress I have and who I'm sitting up. And I still size up people in the room,
100%.
Like, and I set clock her, and I'm like, all right, this is kind of weird. She's freaking me out at this point. And then a number gets slid to me by my buddy's wife. He's like, hey, it's her number. So shoot a text. Boop, boop, boop. She was like, hey, I don't know if you noticed me, but I'm the waitress that's over here. And I was like, no, I clocked you. Like, I see you. We text, right? And her and I were chatting today how to tell this part of the story, but we had an adult sleepover. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
She's heard it all.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Sorry. I don't.
There's a lot of you probably should not have heard. You're good.
So yeah, that happens. I fly back to Maryland, right? And a pivotal moment for me was one, meeting her, two, when I got off the plane in Salt Lake. I'd never really seen mountains like that.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I could do this. So I go home, right? I moved back in with my parents. 3 days later, I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell everything I own. I'm going to save up as much money, and then I'm going to pack my car and I'm going to move to Salt Lake City. But I was like, a year from now, right? And my parents were like, cool, you're doing the right things, right? Like, you can be here, just help your dad out around the farm. Cool. 'Cause I was still trying to run my business. So I was doing that. And then her and I are talking back and forth. Like we had like kindled this friendship, right? Which was awesome. And then she came out and saw me, and she tells me, she's like, I fell in love with you the moment I met you. And like, I love her to death, but that wasn't it for me. Right. And I told her that too. Yeah. She knows. So she came out and saw me, and that's when I was like, oh, I kind of really like this person. So we did the long distance thing. Damn, Mike. We did the long.
Pull it up if you need to.
We did the long distance thing for months, where we'd like FaceTime and watch TV shows together. So we built this friendship on top of this budding relationship. Okay. And then she was like, hey, come out and see me. We're going to go. I was like, cool. I want to kind of look around real estate, see like where I can rent and stuff like that, what I can do, kind of scope out jobs. So I came out, and like, she's going to be so embarrassed when I tell us, but she's going to love it at the same time. I come out, I fell in love with her, right? Like when I was out there, we just hadn't been like, hey, I love you yet, but it was obvious. Like her and I were doing the thing. Yeah. Right. And we're at the gym, and we kiss each other, to go do separate workouts. And I had my headphones in, but I didn't have any music playing. So we kissed each other. She goes, I love you. And I went,
said it back.
And I went, no. I went, what? She goes, okay, bye. And like left. Right. Like, okay, bye. And like went on the stair stepper. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, fuck, do I love her? I think I fucking love her, dude. Like, she's the wild side, the safe wild side that I didn't know. Because I was so rigid. Like, I function very well as a human being with like a rigid structure in my life. Like military school showed me that, right? Like going to jail when I did showed me that, like, tracking all my food, working out at certain times, the way that I structured my life was so rigid that she came in with like that like flowy breeze to like blow my tree in the forest, so to speak. Right. So I was like, fuck, I actually love her. Okay. All right. So we're in the car, we're driving. She's not saying anything to me. Right, like I can tell she's ruminating. Yeah. She was like, "Oh no." So I turned to her. I was like, "Hey, we're gonna talk about what you said." And she was like, "What do you mean? I didn't say anything." And I was like, "I love you too." And like, boom, like that was it. Yeah. Right? So I'm out in Salt Lake. I'm only supposed to be there 2 weeks. So I'm like, I don't want to leave yet, and I didn't tell her that I didn't want to leave. I was like, "Hey, I gotta go to the airport." So she dropped me off at Salt Lake Airport. And I told her for the longest time that I like missed my flight. I really sat in the fucking lobby and was like, I don't want to go. Like, I don't want to leave right now. Like, I want to go back and get as much time with her as I can. So like 45 minutes goes by. I call her, hey, I missed my flight. Something with baggage check. Can you come pick me up? So I stayed another 2 weeks, right? Made a flight back. Ended up paying like $500 in overnight parking fees. Yeah. Like, dude, but I was like, I was really willing to risk it all. Yeah. I went back. My parents were like, how was your trip? Great. I'm leaving this day. They were like, what? I was like, what about this day? No, I'm leaving this day. I'm packing all my stuff, and I'm going to drive across the country. My sister, I was waiting for so we had Thanksgiving and then my sister's birthday. And I was like, I'll wait till after her birthday, because then my birthday was the following month. I told my partner, Eliza, she was like, cool, I'm going to fly out. We're going to do Thanksgiving at your house. And then you and I are going to drive across country So we did that, right? Stopped in a bunch of cities, drove across country. I celebrated my birthday there. We're living our life, doing our thing out there. She ends up getting pregnant. It's not that we weren't not trying, but we also were not trying at the same time. Don't go to Mexico. Yeah.
Shit happens in Mexico.
Oh, hell yeah. It's something in the water, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she's pregnant and I'm doing my own. I'm a traveling trainer at this point. I'm still doing online coaching with my buddy's company, which I'm still like contracted through like as a consultant. But my schedule's so ridiculous. And she's like 8-9 months pregnant. And I'm leaving at like 4:30 in the morning to go train like 4 clients up in like Park City because you're familiar. Yeah. And then I'm driving back down. And this is dead of winter snow. Oh, God. Risking, for lack of a better terms, I'm risking my life. Right? Like, and that's the way I was looking at it. I'm like, look, because I was seeing accidents. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? But I was making balling money doing it. Oh, yeah. I'm going up and down multiple times a week. And she was like, you need a consistent schedule. We're about to have a child. Like, you need to figure it out now. Cool. So I was on Indeed one day and I saw the place that I work at. It's called Fit to Recover. They were like, hey, we need a part-time personal trainer. Message them. I was like, hey, I'm a trainer. And then they brought me in. We had an interview. They're like, what do you know about the recovery world? I was like, oh, it's quite funny actually, because I'm in recovery. It's like, oh, well, this is a nonprofit community center. And that's all we do. Is work with people either that are unsheltered, in recovery, or seeking help. So I started coaching classes there, and I'm still like, I need to find something secure. This is just to boost my income for now, because I pulled back my schedules in Park City, and Kimball Junction, and just to fill some gaps. So I'm there. I still haven't found anything. My son is born, and I'm still a part-time coach for them, right? My son is born, right? We do a long ass labor, 36 hours, and then to a cesarean.
Tell me, that's how long my wife was. 36 hours. You're gonna hear that the rest of your fucking life.
I know. And dude, she owned
never let you live it down.
She's a boss, dude. And the one time I fell asleep in the 36 hours, right? I get woken up by the midwife because we're trying to do a natural birth at a center. She's like waking me up. She's like, hey, we're going to the hospital right now. And I'm like, what? She was like, there's an infection, da-da-da. We go to the hospital. My son is born. Greatest day of my life. To this day. Like just hearing his cry, like, it's the greatest noise I'll ever hear, right? Like, so anyway, he's born. Love my son to death. At that moment, I became a father. Yeah. Right? Like, it felt real, but like, when people say there's like no attachment for the dad yet until the baby's there. Oh, yeah. He was born. I picked him up, gave him to her, she did skin to skin. But when I did skin to skin, the first time him and I like touched, like she had 9 months of like baking him in there. So she was attached. I was like, oh fuck, this is my calling in life. Like, this is it. My son's born. And like, so when she started going into labor, she was like early labor. I was like, hey, can I go do this workout at work? Like, it's like advanced kettlebell class. She was like, hell yeah. She was like, contractions so far apart. I get there, she's full blown contractions. She was like, we gotta go. I was like, no. The midwife said, wait, let's wait. So we stayed and waited. Anyway, he's born. I go back to work the next day. I slept no hours, right? Went to work, kept going back to work. So they see me. They're like, he keeps coming around. Like, he's showing up. I'm picking up extra stuff, helping out. They pulled me in the office one day, and my son is a couple weeks old, right? And I'm getting ready to leave to go back home because I would coach for like multiple hours and then go home on my like little breaks and stuff. Yeah. They pulled me in. They're like, hey, we're going to make you our general manager. We're going to put you on a salary. You're going to get benefits, 401k, like all the adult things that like I wasn't really used to yet because I was still working for like hourly. I didn't have insurance, but I would pay cash for stuff. And I was like, okay, and I started off as their general manager, and they were like, hey, we've never had one. Figure it out. Right. It's the best. Yeah. Hell yeah. Figure it out. And I was I was thrown into the deep waters and didn't know how to swim yet. And then I realized how to swim and was their GM for a long time. But the first version they got of me, like when I first started, is not the version they have now. Oh, for sure. Right. Like, cause I came from a private sector of like training where I'm like, like, I don't give a fuck how tired you are. You should probably just fucking keep going type shit. Like, that's how I talk to my clients. Hey, why don't you shut up and do like 6 more reps? Yeah. To being like trauma informed coaching and like very PC and like how I approach people. I don't actively point at people, you know, or
Because there's a lot of trauma with everything, everybody you're dealing with.
Like I use very, like when I'm coaching, even when I'm working, like outside of the coaching field there, like, you know, hey buddy, you know, hey pal, right? Like I'm going to try to close that gap because of my position where I'm at. Like people look at you up here, but I'm gonna close that gap, right? I'm just Logan. I'm here. I'm here to talk to you. What's up? So I'm their GM for 2 years, and I keep refining my craft and getting softer in my approaches, and having my own coaching style, and I'm drawing attention, and my classes, you know, I have people that love my classes, and you know, and I'm sought out by different treatment centers because they like what I do, and to where like I made a name there. But just the coaching aspect is only like 10 to 15 hours a week. The other hours I'm like supporting people that are coming in, still actively using, or I'm supporting my coworkers on like problem solving, or dealing with people that need help, or you know, I'm doing everything I can to keep my community safe outside of like carrying a badge and a gun. And I know that's a very wild statement to say, but like we work pretty hand in hand with first responders. They know what we do. We know what they do.
Yeah.
They know that we're on their side trying to make a difference. The ones that are trying to make a difference.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know, our main goal there is to make sure that no one feels, one, unsafe, and two, make sure they don't feel unseen. Right? Like
that's a huge thing.
And that comes with its characters too, right? Like I've met some characters doing what I do for work.
Who are some of the hardest people that you have to deal with or work with?
How so? Like mental health or
mental health. I love talking mental health because I feel it's so easy to just discard the mental health.
Oh, dude,
he's a drug addict, man. But people don't truly like just get they don't know what it's like. That's why, like, when I talk to a lot of law enforcement officers, I always try to ask them, like, I like to talk about the mental health side of things that they're dealing with, because it's dude, sad and fascinating at the same time.
They're 100% aware. Like, I know law enforcement is, but like the way the administration around like prison time and stuff like that, and the way that they have to enforce isn't one that's going to, like, they're not going to do mental health first to help, right? Like they still have, not the police, but like jails still have numbers to hit, judges have numbers to hit, right? Like they're going to run for election for something. Like essentially it's a system that is like systemically hating on mental health and addiction. But
100%.
Most of the people that I know that are in recovery or in active addiction are dual diagnosed. So like I'm not there, you know, like I have like high functioning anxiety, and complex PTSD, right? Did I have the complex PTSD before my drug use? No. Did I have anxiety and depression before my drug use? Yes, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing with the anxiety for me and my drug use, it stopped. It was gone when I was numbing myself out and using. The only time I'd have anxiety is if I didn't know if I could get high again, right? Like, but it wasn't constant, like constant anxiety, dude. It was dual diagnosis, right? No one's shooting heroin because they love themselves. Yeah. Right. Like, but mental health is hard when you mix mental health, like meth-induced mental health issues, like meth-induced psychosis or like schizophrenia. Those are some of the hardest ones not to physically deal with, just because I'm a big dude, but I also don't manhandle people. Like normally when I walk in the room, like people know who I am. Yeah. Like I have a reputation of like, not shutting shit down, but like I step in with a presence because they know that I'm there to support whoever, or I'm there to like make sure the problem stops. Yep. And then but I always talk to people, right? Like I may look like this when I walk in the room, but I'll walk up and I'll like always put my hand on someone's shoulder, their back, and like, what's going on, dude? Like, are you okay? Right? To where like I disarm them that way, and then do another like secondary disarm. But like watching people like go through like meth psychosis with like schizophrenia is the scariest thing I've ever seen.
Why so?
Their reality is so altered. Even if you can help them, you don't know if they're coming back. Right? Like even if they get clean, stop using drugs, go to rehab, get the mental health they need, you don't know if they're going to be back to whoever they were before.
Because their mind's just too far gone.
Dude, meth has been one of the scariest drugs I've seen. It never crossed my path in my addiction. Now it's kind of prevalent, not so much, like better than heroin or fentanyl where I'm from, but now meth is a thing. But like, dude, meth is one of the scariest things I've ever seen. Like driving to work, I work in a pretty shitty part of Salt Lake. We're like in the heart of the epidemic of addiction. And I'll see people just like, they'll be full blown hallucinating, talk to themselves.
Oh yeah.
Like yelling at someone else, or like fist fight in the air, or like
laying in a ball in the bushes screaming. And
Dude,
it's like, God,
right, like,
how do you help that person?
Dude, I've seen the wildest stuff there. Like, you know, you walk through the neighborhood. I like to go on little walks when I'm feeling frustrated, or works just a lot, and you'll just see just discarded needles, like human poop, you know, and also I'll say hi to them. Right? They don't expect that. Like, I'll walk past and they're obviously going to clock me because I look like a cop. And I'll look at them and be like, hey, how are you doing today? And like, just the bewilderment, because no one ever said hi to me, right? Like, no one outside of like using drugs or selling ever said hi to me. So like, I understand they're like, what the fuck, right? Like, but like, I also realize they're human, right? Like, and I'll tell people, hey, if you need like free water, you know, I'm over here. Look for like, you'll hear the music playing from the gym. Like, come by and get some water, or like when you're ready to get help, come by and I'll make a phone call. Like, I always offer people, hey, I'll make a phone call. Like, I'm gonna do the best I can. Right. But again, it comes down to that willingness.
Yeah. If they want it or not.
Yeah. But the way the politics are shaping up in Salt Lake, we don't know how beneficial it is going to be like anymore. I mean,
what do you mean?
The way that like the homeless stance is now with the unsheltered stance is like putting them in their own little camps.
Oh, do we not call them homeless anymore? They're
unsheltered. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that changed a little bit ago. But they want to put them in camps, and then there's another movement going on where there's another like rival organization that's a private one that is like, you know, we don't need any of these nonprofits. We're going to take them. We'll make them work here for 2 years. They won't have any mental health meds. Hard work is going to get people mentally sound.
Has this been tried and tested?
Yes, but it's not about what you know, but about who you know and everything that you do, and they know enough people. Right now, we're obviously going to fight back, like all the nonprofits and the for-profits that are like, no, it's not the fucking way. Like, what about people's mental health? Like, what about medication that they're going to need to stabilize and blah, blah. Like, we're going to fight back, right? Like, you know, even if we go down to 3 to 4 people, if this organization falls, like, this name is going to continue. Someone's going to continue it. Maybe not at the capacity that we're at now, but I have not lost. I'll never lose faith in Fit to Recover and what it does.
Yeah,
right. Like what we do. Right, like,
and you guys are a 501, so people could donate to this?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to make sure we put a link in there.
Yeah, you just go to www.fit2recover.org, and we're always looking. But
for charity, man, and that's what makes the world run. That's the hard part about owning a charity is just being straight up like, hey, if people are like, how can I help? It's like money.
Money. Yeah.
Money helps.
Like money. That's what it is. And like, you know, a lot of people don't like asking for that, but like money helps, right? Like, if you can, you know, donate and help us expand or help us stay, that's going to help, right? Sure, you can come in and donate your time.
Yep.
We love that, right? Like, maybe that's a little bit of exposure, or write an expose on us or what. Like, love that. But like, money makes the world go round, especially in the climate now with federal funding the way it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, so I've been there now. It'll be 3 full-time. It'll be 3 years. It's like 3 or 4 years in April.
Oh, shit. Good for you.
But they made me, now I run all of the operations for them, and I manage our whole, so our structure is broken down into 4 pillars. So like fitness, like, so group fitness, everything's group. Nothing is alone. Like our main thing is connection, right? And community. We have a large community of people that come in and work out. So we do fitness, we do creative arts, which is art classes, music classes. We have a recording studio where people would come in and record their own music. We can record you live off of all of our musical instruments on our band room. We have a full kitchen where we do nutrition classes and a meal prep service.
Now, are all of these people homeless, shelterless, or?
So we do, unsheltered population comes in, right? Even if, like, we have people that are unsheltered that come in as community members, and we offer scholarships that, you know, certain organizations have paid for to, like, they're like, hey, we want to support 15 people over the next year, and they'll pay us like 15 memberships to where we put people on.
That's cool.
I want to say we have close to like 50 some people on scholarships out of our like 300 plus members.
Okay.
Right? Like creative arts, right? All the music stuff, nutrition, and then service projects where we do one big one every quarter where we go out, like our Christmas morning one, which is my favorite one. You go out, you hand out hygiene kits, warm food, and jackets to the unsheltered population. But we don't just do the unsheltered population. We do people that are in recovery, and the people that stay with us, like, you know, at our facility that come in as members, have a pretty high percentage of chance of staying in recovery long term. I don't have the exact percentage. I don't want to butcher it and do us, you know, an injustice.
Yeah.
But the beautiful thing about this community is you walk in day one, everyone's going to say hi to you, right? Like most of the people, right? Staff's always going to be friendly to you. Everyone's going to say hi. We're big on handing out high fives, right? Like in workouts, like we're not going to beat you over the head to like deadlift 450.
Yeah.
But like,
You're just getting the body moving.
we just want you to fuck in there, right? Like big on high fives, big on community, and our community rallies around itself, rallies around each other outside of our space too. Like our community is very, very strong. But, and yeah, now I do that. I mean, I coach, and yeah, dude, it's been a wild ride. It's been a lot of full circle stuff.
Oh,
right? Like,
for sure. Especially in this world. You either go full circle or
yeah,
you step off somewhere and there's no getting back on.
and, you know, becoming a dad kind of that humbled me and made me more empathetic to the world. Also a little bit more scared towards the world too, of like how it is. And
Wait till you have a daughter.
no, I'm good. Eliza wants another child. She's like, it's going to be a girl. I'm like, cool.
I hope it is.
I
That's the greatest thing ever.
thought my son was going to be a girl. I was set on it. And then he was a boy. And now I'm like, thank God first one's a boy. Because if I do have a girl, like, she'll have an older brother. But yeah, dude, I've been in the nonprofit sector for 3 years now. And, you know, my partner, she just got her master's degree in behavioral analysis, right?
Why do you call her your partner?
Bro, if I called her my girl or my girlfriend, that's doing her a disservice, right? Like,
Why don't you put a ring on it?
I'm
calling you out on
Yeah, you are. We're gonna do it. The thing is, she was like, I don't want you to propose to me until I graduate and get my master's degree and get my licensing, right?
Okay.
And now we're both talking. We're like, well, now I'm back. I'm in school now. Like now it's my time to shine. Not shine, but like now it's my time to like do some hard shit.
Yeah.
Show my son like, hey, it doesn't matter how fucking old you are, you can still do something hard. There is a plan to do it. She's gonna listen to this, so I can't like be like, hey, here's the fucking plan.
Yeah.
But it's gonna happen.
All right. That's all I need to know.
It's gonna happen, dude. We've already come to the conclusion that like you're my forever person. I told her, I was like, hey, if this doesn't work, I'm gonna marry my best friend and use him as a tax write-off type shit.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, dude. So we'll get married. Probably she wants another kid. I want another kid at some point, right? I just started school. I'm trying to get my bachelor's degree in cybersecurity.
Oh, okay.
I've always loved cyber. I think that's going to be, and like I want to make the world a safer place. I don't think my capacities run out at what I'm doing now, but I want to help people in a different capacity, right? Like I've been a pretty pivotal member of the recovery community for a while, but you know, I have a thing for keeping kids safe. And I think the way social media is geared, and also having a son, and the way like the sextortion and stuff happens, and the way AI is coming out, and AGI is projected to come out in like 5 years.
Have you listened to my episode? I had Ben, the family IT guy, on. I've had him on twice.
Yeah.
He's incredible. He's right down the street here. But
Really?
we just had lunch the other day when I got dinner with him and his brother this week. But I should get you guys connected.
Yeah,
once
hell
you
yeah.
go through. Dude, he's...
So, dude, I spent the last year before I went to school doing it was called Coursera, so it's like professional certifications. Yep. I did like Google cybersecurity. I did all these different cybersecurity things to like see how I liked it, because I like it as like a hobby, right? Like, and I love technology, and I was like, oh, I'm good at this. Like, oh, okay. Now I want to kind of I want to finish that bachelor's degree, and I'd love to transition into like cybercrime.
Yep. Right.
Like either way, I'm going to do something that's helping people, right? Monetarily, it's a bigger increase for my family, but I don't want to sell my soul for money.
Yeah. It's not worth it.
I'd rather make more money and still help people than just make money to make money. So I think that's in the next like 2 years, because I got accepted into like an accelerated program. I think that's what I'm going to pivot to. And then,
awesome.
And then obviously if I get my bachelor's, I got to get my master's. Like I'm not going to half-ass this either. Right. And so, yeah, the next like 3 to 4 years, that'll probably be where I pivot.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, dude.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You are one of the few.
dude.
I don't know statistics. I wish I had numbers. But man, I'd say everything was against you, especially how deep you were into it.
Yeah.
Into the addiction, the homelessness, the selling drugs, pushing whatever it was. You had everything pointed against you. And the fact that you're here now, you got a son.
Dude.
You should be married, but got an awesome chick.
Yeah.
In love. You got a business. You're working for an awesome business, and you got your degree going. I mean, damn, good for you, man.
I think I've never stopped being addicted to. I stopped being addicted to drugs, but I never let my addiction go. And when I say that, I got addicted in other ways, right? Like, so now, like, I've got this fucking thing about me where I got to constantly be learning, right? Like, and it's always real, like, random shit. Like, the last 2 years, I've been trying to learn Japanese.
Okay.
Right. Or like the year before that, or, you know, these last couple of years, like, to keep my certifications, like my national certifications for PT, I have to keep learning. So, like, now I went different ways, like, you know, nutritionist, strength conditioning coach, personal trainer, health coach, right? To where I like that, like, kind of got the cogs going in my brain where I was like, oh, like, I enjoy learning, right? Like, and then I also enjoy taking care of myself, and then also pushing people to do hard shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's how my addiction manifested itself in a different way, right? Like, does it still manifest itself in bad ways? Sure, I'll get injured and keep working out, right? Like, that's my flaw, where I'm like, oh, fuck, like,
That's just a little tweak.
it's fine, this right shoulder, I'm not having a heart attack or anything.
It's not clicking as bad today. Yeah.
But it's not like I said earlier, when my times are really, really bad, I've never had a thought where I want to go back.
Good.
Right? Like, it's not on my radar. I'll be like, this really sucks. This really fucking sucks. And, you know, sometimes I'll shut down, like, emotionally, which I work really hard to not do so much anymore. But there is a way to get out of your addiction and stay out of it, is what I'm trying to say. But also, like, the shit doesn't discriminate, dude.
No.
Right? Like, I started off very simple from a doctor, right? Like, you know, you could be your first time trying something and you're hooked. It could be your 100th time doing it. You're hooked, right? Like, it doesn't care if you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, if you're Mormon, if you're Christian, if you're man, if you're woman, if you're non-binary. Addiction doesn't care. It's going to hook you, right? And then it is an active choice to take the hooks out, right? You have to say, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done.
Yep.
I want to get help. And then you actually have to fucking do the work, right? Like, you can't be like, oh, Logan on the Wild Chaos podcast says, if I go to treatment, everything's, no, fuck no, dude. Like, I still had to work at it. Like, I still had to go to therapy. I still had to be honest with myself. I still had to be honest with those around me. I had to learn how to feel my feelings, how to manage, you know, my mental health symptoms, like I had to physically take care of myself. Like,
there's a lot. We just covered the cliff notes of your journey.
Yeah, like, spiritually, dude. Like, I just got back to, I wouldn't say I just got back to God, but I just got back to the title of calling my higher power God, right? Like, I turned 35 last year, and just too much, like, I always reflect, like, on where I didn't expect to turn 30. So now that I'm 36, I'm kind of winging it at this point. Like, I didn't have a plan for this.
You didn't expect to make it this far.
I didn't expect to make it to 30, dude.
Yeah.
And then, but, like, everything worked out just the way it was supposed to, but, like, not so fucking random that I used to be blind to it, right? Or ignorant. I'd be like, no, like, I did all this. But it worked, the timing. Everything worked out perfectly when it needed to work out. Right?
You know what that's called? You know what we call it in this house?
What?
God shit.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. And then probably 6 months ago, in the summer, my girl was like, we need to go back to church, blah, blah, blah. To where, like, she planted the seed, and we don't do church yet. We're still looking. I'm really skeptical about organized religion in Salt Lake. I'm a little scared of it.
Rightfully so.
But I just prayed one morning. And like you said, like, that weight went off me. I was like, damn. Now, it wasn't a habit, right? Like, I prayed one morning. I was like, oh, I feel great. And then a couple of days went by. Then, oh shit, I forgot to pray. And then now I don't even put, like, 5 seconds before, like, or after I wake up. I open my eyes. I don't, like, get on my knees. As soon as I open my eyes, hey, you didn't have to wake me up today. You woke me up. You know, I always give them what I'm grateful for, right? Grateful for my partner, grateful for my son, grateful that I have a life, you know, and I'll mix it up each morning.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, you don't have to protect me, but I need you to protect them and everything they do today. Because if they need to make it home, if I don't make it home, they're going to be okay. I've got them set up to be fine. But if it's your will, make sure we all make it home and are able to have dinner together. And then it's like so simple.
So simple.
I think people complicate it with like, you need to ask for all this shit. God, and I foxhole prayed many times. Oh, please do not let me pee dirty on this drug test. Please let the drug dealer answer.
We've all met that.
Right? Like, and now like, I don't ask for much. I thank him for what he's given me.
That's it. Thank you.
I thank, and then I'm saying, look, if it's your will, let us get home safe.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like,
it's in your will. Take the wheel.
Dude, the hardest I prayed was the other night, and it was a little bit of a foxhole prayer, but I prayed before we flew out to Denver, me and Eliza, and we're on United, and we're doing the planes making the wrong noises. It's so loud. And like, I've flown numerous times, and it was so loud and shaking so bad. Both of us looked at each other, and I just started praying. I was like, fuck. I was like, Lord, I'm so sorry that I was so stupid enough to put both of my son's parents on one flight. And if this is how it goes out, please make sure that he's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And then it like stopped and we landed, and I looked at her and she looked at me. I was like, dude, I've never heard a plane make that type of noise, a commercial jet. Like, she was like, I thought we were going to crash. I was like, okay. Well, like, dude, it's the small things that you got to be thankful for. Like,
absolutely.
You know,
and then not forget when you're in the valleys, it's always nice when you're on the peaks.
Oh yeah.
But when you're in the valleys, that's, you know, that, and even when you're on the top and everybody wants, oh, I'm so blessed and life is so great.
Bro,
remember it when you're in the trenches.
I don't know what it is, but when people say I'm blessed, that just irks me for some reason, right? Like, because again, they only say it at the top, right? Like, be at the bottom and say, I'm blessed to be here. Like, when shit is bad for me, I think, hey, shit sucks, but hey, thank you for giving me the ability to make choices.
See, my wife just checked me on that today before you got here.
Really?
So we have another truck and the engine shot on it.
Oh,
it's paid off. It's one of those, like, if I just replace the engine,
sure,
it's still a brand new truck.
Yeah.
It's just a Dodge, unfortunately.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Is it a Cummins?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
So, I'm sorry, it's not it's a 5.7, it's the Hemi, but.
Oh, let's go.
And I'm sitting here like, fuck, I just got a quote, $9,000. Replace it for a crate engine in it. And I'm like, fuck.
Not including installation either.
It was installation.
Oh,
installation's
nice.
like $3,000.
Yeah,
right?
hell
the crate
yeah.
engine was like $4,000. It's going $3,000 plus everything else. So I'm looking just short of $10,000, and I'm sitting here just like bumming, man. I just got it like literally like an hour before you got here. I'm like, fuck, $10,000. I'm like, oh God, I don't want to finance. I don't want to drop cash. I don't want to pay for this.
Yeah.
And my wife goes, remember when we're in the valley? She goes, we have the money to pay for this.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
She goes, imagine if we didn't have the means to drop $10,000 on a motor right now. And I'm like,
and that was your only vehicle, dude, right?
Okay, yeah. What if that was our, and we've been there where we've had one vehicle and had problems with it. Like, you know, so then it's good to be reminded of those. And I'm like, okay, you're right.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It could be way worse.
Yo, dude, it could always be worse.
Count my blessings. I got bills are paid. Kids are healthy.
Yeah.
Got a hot ass wife that I love.
Dude, it's so simple,
good,
right? Like,
right?
To be a happy man, it's so simple.
It really is.
I'm gonna pay my bills. My son is healthy. My soon-to-be wife is happy. Easy peasy.
What else
right?
you need?
Sure, I'd love to make fucking 6 figures a year.
No
Do
way.
all that. Yeah. But would I be happy? Right? Like,
And
what am I trading?
I talk about it a lot because I was connected with some money.
Yeah.
Right? Money. They're all miserable, man.
Yeah, hell yeah.
They have everything. They have the toys. They got the brand new trucks. They got the $1 million homes in the mountains.
Yeah.
They got the trophy wife, whatever it may be. They're all miserable, man.
Yeah, because you got to trade so much to get there, right?
What's that trade? Now,
Because it's time for money, but you need to be able to trade money for time, right? Like, if I make 6 figures, I want to be able to take 8 weeks off to go. But like, if I'm in a position where a job where I make 6 figures and I'm that important or I'm that high paid,
not taking
high
8
skilled,
weeks off.
hell no, they need me. My phone's going to go off, right? Like, and that's one of the things about cyber that I'm going to be very wary of the position I take, right? Because I know there's going to be a pretty big monetary like change for us. But what is my availability and how much am I willing?
Don't lose sight of it.
What's the price tag I'm willing to put on myself?
That's what it comes down to, is what is it worth? And I feel bad because it took me a lot. I always look at these guys. Man, he's got everything. Fuck, dude. This good dude's got it.
Hell yeah.
Look at the boat. He's got the Pavati boats. He's got the 2500 with dually towing.
Yeah.
God, I would cut a toe off, foot off right now for that. But then you get to know these guys, and I get into these circles, and I'm like, I'm leaving these events. I'm like, ugh,
hell no,
ugh. Like I'm good. I'm good with
you, dude.
Very shady. It's a dirty world.
Yeah.
The things that their guys are wheeling and dealing to get to that level, but then you go over there to these events, and you're like, God, we leave and like, fuck those kids. Holy shit, worst kids I've ever dealt with. The guy's miserable. Didn't say one word to his wife the whole entire time. It was super awkward.
No.
And you're just like, I'm like, oh, cool. I'll come back to my little home.
Yep.
I'm good. And that's where I think a lot of men, we lose sight of it because we've been so, you look at these entrepreneurs online and all these entrepreneurs got the Bugattis, they got the Ferrari. You don't need that. Bro, you don't need that one to be an entrepreneur and to be happy. Like that's where this social media image I feel is really ruined, like the business owner aspect, because now it's like, dude, you can't just be a business owner and make a couple $100,000 a year and be happy.
No,
now he's like, I got to scale. I got a 10x. How do I 10x? Like,
dude.
Why the fuck do I have to 10x? Like, I'm good, man. I'm good. Bills are paid. Like, now some people are like, well, that's you're not trying to grow.
That's not good capitalism. Like, cool, but my bills are paid. I'm happy.
Yeah, I have peace. More money, more problems is one of the most real fucking things any rapper has ever said in their life. Though. Like, they're not. It's where's that happy medium?
When Eliza, her pay scale changed after her licensing and whatnot. Like when I finished my pay scale change. But like you said, like more money, more problems. Like we're so very like simple with what we want. Like we want to buy a house out of the heart of Salt Lake or like a little bit east towards the mountains, right? Like my main thing is I want my son to have a neighborhood. Yep. I want him to be able to walk the dog. Like, do we need the fanciest cars? No, right? We're gonna upgrade when we need to upgrade, right? Like, I told her, hey, after I graduate, I'll probably upgrade and
for sure
look for like a used Bronco, right? Like, because I'm fucking nostalgic.
Yeah.
Buy our house and that's it, right? We'll put money into accounts. Like, we're really big on living below our means, right? Like, cool. If I'm making 150, I'm going to live at like 75. I'm going to cut it in half and the rest needs to go somewhere else.
That's where a lot of people, I feel, get caught up, is because you're like, oh shit, I got a pay increase. And then their lifestyle matches that.
Yeah.
My wife and I, bro, she's been with me since the Marines. I never.
Oh, you weren't making shit, bro.
Dog shit. Right? She was with me when I was contracting overseas. I wasn't. I mean, we were making money, but the fucking Afghan was taking half of it.
What? How does that work? The country of Afghanistan.
I was paying Afghan federal tax.
That's crazy.
Bullshit, right? Yeah. And so, anyways, dude, we've been homeless together. I have been calling bosses asking for advances. Like, we've been there, right? And so we've learned though. But I've also owned businesses where I can't spend the money fast enough. Yeah. Like, we're putting money. I'm going into gun stores. Like, I want that, box it up. So like, I've lived both spectrums of making fuck you money versus counting quarters in my truck just so we can get to the next gas station, right? So I've done it.
Yeah.
But during that time, we learned to live in our means. Like, I don't have toys. Though. I don't have boats and AT and all this debt and all that shit. So we've learned over the years. So now that we've like got our life on track, it's like, I don't need that shit. Like, can I go buy my truck engine's blowing? Can I go get a new truck right now? 100%. Do I want? Fuck no.
Do you need to though?
I need to. I don't. Do I want to? Do I want the new GMC? The AT4? Oh, that's my dream truck.
Bro, right? I was actually looking at the Tahoe a lot the other day, like building one out. I was
beautiful.
I'm like 89. Like, that's a lot.
Do I want one? Can I go?
Like, if you think about it, $10,000 you're gonna spend for the new engine, right? You're gonna get probably like 5 or 6 more years out of the truck.
For sure.
The transmission's gonna blow up if the engine goes, right? But also, like, that 10 grand you could put down on a brand new vehicle, but now you're locked into like 6 to 8 years of financing, right?
I got
Which is just
another
gonna
monthly
compound.
bill, but I could put that bill into a savings where now we're like, hey guys, fuck Christmas, we're going on vacation instead because I didn't get a new truck.
Dude, it's all about perspective. Like the shiny objects are great, but the novelty wears, right? Like that new car is going to feel brand new for a month, and then you're like, oh,
smell wears off.
Yeah, then you're like, damn, I have a $900 car payment.
And then, but instead of, oh, I wish, well, money's tight now. Well, now instead, I can go create memories instead of this truck that sits in the driveway.
Dude, I wish is like the worst statement. Oh, I wish I had your car, or I wish I had your work ethic, or blah, blah, blah. You fucking can. Stop fucking wishing, dude. Just do it, right? Like, you're not going to happen. Not going to do it overnight.
I had a buddy that came on a show, and we actually know this. He does executive security, and I used to have an executive security company, so we actually know the same dude, which we didn't know that he worked for, and I was personal friends with him.
Oh yeah,
big billionaire dude, but he did his security, but I'm tied into him.
Yeah.
We were talking, and he said it best, and I felt it when he said it because I've worked for Saudis, I've worked for Afghan, like these big Arabs, I've worked for big wig dudes all over the world. And he said it the best. And he goes, I've never met one millionaire or billionaire that I would ever trade their shoes with.
No, dude. I mean, because it's not, they can't, sure, maybe like Saudi oil princes can just fuck off.
They're miserable,
but
though.
Like,
they have everything.
You got nothing to shoot for. Right? Like, and you've lost track of what's going to make you happy. You've lost track of your roots, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, maybe you liked to play soccer on a Thursday night with the boys or whatever, but now you can't because you got to fly to Dubai and host this party of 1,000 people you don't fucking know with wild tigers or whatever you're doing. And then, I got to fly out again to go do this business meeting. Like, people think that millionaires and billionaires are not doing anything. Like, everybody's like, I want to be like Elon Musk or like Jeff Bezos. No, fuck no, because they are not happy and they don't know how to be happy and they don't know how to pause.
All divorced. Yeah. All paying out half their freaking salary. Tell me you got all the money in the world and you can't keep a woman?
No, they don't know how to stop and be like, oh shit.
They don't. That's a happy medium.
I don't need to work right now, right? Like, and that's what money brings. Lots of money brings because people with lots of money are afraid to run out of that money because now they're accustomed to living that lifestyle. What happens if I drop down from being a billionaire to a millionaire?
Yeah. Well, what if I don't do 500? What if I don't do $1 million this year? We're fucked.
Oh, you're not though. Like,
you know.
Oh, dude.
Well, dude, this is a great conversation, man. Let's go get some dinner.
Cool.
I really appreciate you being so open and raw and just telling your story, especially some of these chunks for the first time, man. I really appreciate that. It means a lot. I thought this was just part of your journey, and you'd tell people because you put it in, a little bit when you filled out the form, and I was like, okay, cool, like we'll touch on it, but I didn't think it was like you coming on and when I say we joke about it, it's in a way where her and I talk, and we'll sit up here, and she sits in that seat, and she's like, Dad, this is like a therapy session for a lot of these people. And I'm like, fuck, like you couldn't be so right. Like, but it's not in like a way where I'm like, tell me more about you. It's just a genuine conversation which allows, and that's what people need, man. It's just good conversation where people listen and tell their stories.
That's one of my like favorite parts about podcasting. Like, me and my buddy's podcast is still.
Which podcast? Plug it.
The podcast is called Man to Man with Logan and Ben. We're still like very infancy in it, but like him and I will, openings are always weird, right? And then we'll just get in the groove, and we've got to learn so much about each other. Like we were friends before we started the podcast, and I was very selective on who I wanted because the podcast was a dream of mine for years. Yeah. To the point where I had like planned out. I planned out all of season 1, all the topics like beforehand.
Okay.
And where him and I get to tell each other's perspective, and like we agree on some things, we agree or we don't agree, but like we're shooting back and forth and having an open conversation, which like without stipulations, where I'm not going to judge him because his view might be different on me, but we'll debate, we'll argue, we'll laugh. Like I think that's the best thing about podcasting now is that you can be introduced to the most random people and talk about the most random topics. But now I know more about you, you know more about me, and now like. Who knows, dude? Like we could become, friends, or, you'll have a guest on and be like, I 100% don't agree with you, but I'm going to listen to you. Right. For
sure.
That's where the world's fucking up right now. Nobody's able to just talk to each other.
Because we're so now everybody has to pick a side. There's a side to everything. And look what happens when you pick a side. You end up getting shot in your car by doing some dumb shit. Right. We're not even going to touch that because it's still unfolding and things are crazy. But if you like, okay, a perfect example. We have a bread
Yeah.
bakery, right? A couple of years ago,
Yeah.
we have a customer. She has the signs, the flags, everyone welcome here, pride this, all this bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Hardcore left. She is the left of the left.
Oh, wow.
Dude,
Okay.
a few years ago, I'd have been like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like, because I had this side. I had a side I was on. Bro, then you like wake up one day and you're like, it's all the fucking same.
Dude.
It's all the same. They're owned by the same people. But now she's one of our best customers. I hand deliver her bread. I sit there and bullshit with her.
As you should.
She actually is this person, and she works for this. I won't say where she works.
Yeah.
But she has this group of people there, and we give her all of our samples. These sample loaves that we try new flavors, and she breaks out these Word documents.
Oh, I love that.
This Word doc, it has all everybody's notes and all this shit.
Yeah.
Dude, she's one of the greatest people. But like when I had a side that I couldn't agree with her side,
Bro.
now I look at it, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Do whatever you want to do. As long as you're not pushing an agenda and you're not outwardly just doing dumb shit, and you're not pushing it to try to change me, because right now I'm fucked the government as a whole.
Let's go.
So that's what I'm at. Like, there's no right and left to me. It's the government as a whole. So now I just look at everything. I'm like, okay, you're just watching different. You're in a different algorithm than I am. Dude, it's all it comes down to.
And the algorithm is geared to push you to the extreme right or the extreme left, right? Like, and I think we should all be in line with our country right now. When I say in line, right, that's not with like Trump or whoever, whatever. Dude, I'm a fucking American.
What is best for our country?
Yeah. I think politics and organized religion are the two greatest schemes to divide people and conquer, right? Because let's say we got rid of the political parties and everybody just came together and like you and I do right now, agree to disagree, right? And then, but whoever president or whatever says some shit that we all don't like, or only, some of us like, some of us don't like. Well, cool. Now we have power in numbers. Now, hey, that's not going to fly. This is actually how the country should be.
But as long as they have us where we're at, where we're driving 5 hours to go and disrupt ICE protests, it's like that's where it comes down to, because as long as we're fighting in the streets, screaming at each other, people are getting maced, we're protesting everything, which protests have never been successful of anything I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, the right to peacefully protest, when have we ever peacefully protested as a country? Like, name one.
That's the problem. I cannot go down to it's so bad now, and this is probably way off topic, but it's so bad now. I don't agree with 90% of the shit Trump says, right? But I voted for Trump.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, it's so divided. I can't go to some leftist liberal and be like, oh, I agree with you, because theirs is completely different. I'm just like, hey, I just want whoever's in charge to put America first. That's where my bitch is.
Dude.
Do I care about open borders? Yeah, I don't want fucking open borders. No country. Look at all the countries they have. Like, there's certain things where you can just look at and be like, you're an idiot. Like,
but the problem, like, everybody has to choose their side. I can't be like I don't agree with everything Trump says. I agree with some of the stuff Trump says. Or
there's some stuff that
like
I just seen Bernie Sanders say, and I was like,
I'm surprised he's still alive, dude.
For sure. But I just saw him say something. I was like, the fuck? I agree with that.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
But it's because I'm thinking of it differently. Too, right? I'm not thinking of it from a Republican conservative side. I'm just thinking of it as an American. I'm like, that would make sense. Right. That's why this two-party system doesn't make any sense. It can't work.
Right. You gotta.
We'll always be where we're at, because we're so divided. If we came together for 1 year, we're like, hey guys.
Oh yeah, we'd be fine.
Put your hate for Trump away. We'll put our hate for whatever else away. Let's all come together and fuck the government.
Yeah, dude.
And let's see what we could accomplish by, first off, we're going to stop paying federal taxes, and let's see how far they get. Like shit like that. But we'll never do it because we're buried.
Dude,
we're buried in it.
That's 100%. Like, it's
Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson. It's like, dude.
So
shit.
I have a pretty, I think it's a great concept for how we should restructure politics. Right?
I would love to hear this.
So
we'll finish on this.
My idea, right? So, the draft from Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
So we do a political draft, right? Now, age gap, right? We'll say, I'm still loose on the starting age, but let's say 25 to 55. If you're over 55, you can no longer be drafted, right? You do 2-year terms, okay? Now, you have to make it through the draft. Now, you, me, whoever, be drafted locally, state, federal, president, right? Now, if I'm going in at 36 as the president, I'm not going to do some dumb shit, right? Pass a dumb bill that's going to fuck me after I get out, right? Also, it keeps those like billionaire hierarchies and everything out of it, right? So we just keep rotating, right? Like, and I think it'll make it a little bit more clear for the rest of the country. Be like, hey, like Bam thinks this way, Logan thinks this way, blah, blah, blah. We've got all these different people. And with that draft, we have to start coming up with unanimous decisions to pass things, right? Like not majority, everyone has to agree, right? To where like, cool, that way someone's not making $1 million off of this bill passing. Everyone has to agree, is this the best thing for America, right? But the two-party system is going to keep it so divided. But if we got drafted into politics, I think it would give us a little bit more insight.
Yeah.
And also keep like the systemic politician out.
Term limits have to end now.
Dude, yeah.
Immediately. I mean, they got Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. These fucks that have been in there since
how long has she been in there?
Diapers.
Fuck.
You know, so like that's got to go immediately.
She what does she do now? She's
insider trading. That's all she does now. Same with Dan Crenshaw and his little punk ass.
I saw who went off on Dan.
Sean Ryan.
I saw that. I like Sean, dude.
Watching two Navy SEALs cry on the internet is the most comical thing. Like, I'm like, bro, shut up. Like, dude. It's so funny to me to watch. I'm like, you guys, like, the SEAL community is I will clip this shit. The SEAL community is the biggest.
I'll clip it.
This is the crybaby, biggest pussies you've ever met in your life, man. They bitch about everything.
If you're comfortable about, like, you know, breaking your anonymity on being one of the world's elite warriors, right? Like MARSOC, fucking Navy SEALs, USAF, Rangers, right? Like Delta, all that. If you can comfortably do that, I did this. No, fuck no, dude, because the community is supposed to be anonymous. Even I know that, right? Like you do what you're supposed to do, you get out, hopefully you stick together. But like, I'm not trying to make money off of my good deeds because now that good deed is a bad deed, right? Like the book about the Navy SEAL like shot fucking Osama bin Laden. That should never been come out light of day. It should have never been. Hey,
it's all a lie. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's to make money, but like, they picked somebody and he should have been like, hey, nah, dog. Like,
but they get greedy.
Yeah.
They
like,
want those book deals.
Like, I've heard most people say they serve because of it's a brotherhood.
I served because I was too stupid and I knew I was going to fuck out of college and the war broke out. And I was like, that's my out of here.
Why'd you stay until you did? I know why you got out because I've heard that. I've heard you tell that, but why'd you stay so long?
I wanted to career it. I joined 100%. I'm going to do 20 years. And then, and into my 8 years, my second enlistment, I was like, whoa, I fucked up. I got to get out of here. And I just had to ride my time. So,
yeah, my buddy just got out like a year or two ago. He did 10.
Okay.
And he was like, look, I can't. He jokes about it now, but I know like a big part of him left when he left the Marine Corps. He was diehard, like crayon eater, loved it, bro.
Oh, I was not.
He loved it, but he was also like me. Like he needed that structure.
I needed it. It changed my life. It prepped me for everything that who I am now. But I never drank the Kool-Aid.
No,
dude, no. I never wanted to get a haircut. I have no moto tats.
Good. Moto tats crack me up.
I'm ready to get one now.
Are you? What are you gonna get?
I'm gonna get an EGA. Yeah, I think. And so, but I never drank from day one. I never drank the Kool-Aid. Like I was always the dude that was like, how do I get as far away from Pendleton as possible? And I'd get on the Amtrak in Oceanside and take off, and I would just go places like.
Bro, at least you weren't down in Lejeune. I mean,
I got out of the Marine Corps because I was getting orders Lejeune.
Bro, they're still going through that civil lawsuit of the water.
Which one? The water, the paint, dude, the asbestos.
That's so crazy. Like
it's all of it. Dude, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, bro.
I'm gonna talk to you for hours. Let's go get dinner.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Let's get your signature. We'll get a thumbnail.